Very good afternoon, very good evening, should I say, and welcome to Empire Ballpark here for the under-16s in the Rays showcases. That was the first pitch of the game. On the hill is Jesse Nereltas, and he is pitching for the Hot Rods. And Riley Hall in the box. So for the Stone Crabs, it'll look like this. The Riley Hall, Eda Samakawa, Jai Hewitt were your first three batters up. Paul Morgan's my name. Simon Ison's joining me. Simon, the nightcap, the 16s. The first time you get to watch them this weekend.
Yeah, look, it's one of those things. I've had the fortune to see them train during the week, and it's been good. But this is an experience for these guys because at the moment there is some seriously raw talent inside these kids. You know, little diamonds in the rough. That I know the other coaches are looking at to see how they perform. And it's also a great way to see the other coaches start to see how they manage a younger ball club.
That one's hit up high. The second baseman, Taj Egan, camps under it. Taj makes the catch. First out of the game. Good news for Heat fans. We've got the win over in Adelaide. I think final score in that one's 6-0, 5-0, 6-0,
5-0 by the look of it. But that's a very convincing win. And I was listening to Shane Watson comment. He said it was just one of those things when the Heat had everything. Everything worked for them. Everything was going on top. Broken bats, soft line drives here and there. So an outstanding job by the pitching staff.
Pitching staff have been very good, as this is Itasamu Kawa. Enjoyed watching him yesterday. So your final score, Bo Salsa gets the win for the Heat.
This young man is an absolute pleasure to watch. Itasawa. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name properly. I'll just call him E.T. Let's just leave it at that. E.T. gets my vote for a young man who has shown maturity above, obviously, his height, which he's challenged with a bit, but he moves around the ballpark so well. And he's got a good vision, good hands as well. So keep an eye on him. You know, you don't have to be big and tall and strong and massive to be a successful baseballer. And this, he's putting commitment into the game, which is great.
Samukawa for the Stone Crabs. Ida Samukawa for the Stone Crabs.
E.T.
The left-hander. Missing outside. So it'll be Macklin Berry out in right field for the Hot Rods. Michael DeGasperis in centre field. Jackson Stivey in left field. Xavier Fatai, the third baseman. Cruz Brendan at shortstop. Taj Egan took the catch before at second base. As Samukawa draws a walk. And we go and see Jack Angel over at first base for the Hot Rods. And at Boston Foot behind the dish for Jesse Nereltas on the hill. Jai Hewitt now up to bat, number 66. Significantly taller than Samukawa in the box.
Significantly taller than me.
The son of Jason Hewitt.
Significantly taller than Jason, I'd say as well.
Former Heater and Adelaide Giant. Olympian as Samukawa will get the skates on, head to second.
I guess what both coaches tonight, and again, we've talked about over the last couple of games, and Paul, you've seen this probably more than me so far. This is an experience for these young guys. We want to see adjustments made because last night probably wasn't a great adjustment for both clubs, both 16s and 18s, with the pitchers not doing their job. Let's be honest. We want to see the growth in them as players and their ability to be coached, to be able to throw strikes, keep everything going, keep the tempo of the game going, and where possible show an ability to make good adjustments in the batter's box, on the mound, and even on the bases as well.
So one gets past Boston Foot, and Samukawa goes to third base. Jai Hewitt, 2-1 count on Hewitt. The pitch in, and that one's out, blocked by Foot. And so just repeating, the Heat take the win 5-0 over the Adelaide Giants. off the back of dominant performance on the hill by Bo Salsa. So 5 innings, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts for Salsa. And Jacob Lopez came in and closed the door. 2 innings, no hits, 3 strikeouts. So the Heat Arms fresh for their double dip, which they've got to go and do against the Bandits and Adelaide. Heard the umpire there. 3 balls, 2 strikes. As Hewitt stares down. Now it just takes a hit out to right field. It's going to land in time with no one covering it. Coming home to score is Samakawa. Hewitt's going to go to second. Will he try for 3? I think he's going to camp at second. Stand-up double for Hewitt. Scores Samakawa, and we have a 1-0 ball game. Nice bit of hitting by Hewitt.
Good approach, ball away, drives, he lets it get to the zone, but he's got such a powerful swing on him for a young man, he's not, I'm going to say he's not developing the game. He's been around the game long enough to know pitch locations, with his dad being obviously the #1 mentor for him. He's got a really good understanding of what he needs to do. It's the execution and the consistent execution that, even Jai's looking for in his game. That's a great piece. Gap open there, did exactly what he needed to do, drive the run in.
We'll bring up Aiden Branch. Very happy strike call for the umpire.
I heard him.
Yeah.
I've had him in a few games before, and when you hear it, and that all game, you actually want to throw a ball every now and then.
Yeah, just to calm down. Foul's just as animated.
I've spoken to him after a game a couple of times, and it's literally his horse. And it was a good game, was it?
Yeah. So Branch has Jai Hewitt at second base. Scoring position. The Crabs lead it 1-0. These guys played the 4 o'clock game yesterday in the light. They get the nightcap tonight, so they get to play under lights, which will be a thrill for these guys. Of course, then tomorrow they're back to the 4 o'clock start. So this is big swing and a miss. And do you remember the first time you ever played under lights, like sort of at Parry Field? Or?
Yeah, the very first night game I ever played was at Parry Field under 15s, Swans versus Wembley. Graham Ward is my coach. I played shortstop. Yeah, I've got a pretty good memory of what happened that game. But yeah, it's daunting to play at any large field. And this is an interesting exercise for these young guys. Is they probably would have played across multiple fields at the Nationals. They wouldn't have had too many night games. So the profile of that team may have only given them maybe 1 game. These guys get back-to-back games in a great environment. A few of these kids have probably never really trained or played on this field in game experience, especially with an audience. So there's a lot of positives coming out from this environment that's been created. And one of those things is you've got to learn to play in different environments, different weather conditions, different sunlight. This is a tricky time at the ballpark. A ball in the air can get lost quite easily. So you've got to make adjustments. If you want to evolve as a baseball player, you just can't think it's going to be perfect every time you step out there.
George Calvary in the box for the Stone Crabs. Just missing low. I mean, from a pitcher's perspective, I mean, is there much of a difference between day and night?
Oh, yeah. Massive from temperature for the ball. The temperature of the ball rotations and the travelling. The #1 thing being, depending on how the lights are positioned, is what the hitter can actually see. I will be the first person to admit I love night games.
That one's hit high and deep to the left field, and Jackson Stivey is going back, tracking it, and drops the ball in the end. Stivey, Jai Hewitt comes home to score. Ending up on second base is George Calverley. So just sort of, as you said, Simon, it's that kind of tricky time of the night where there's 3 sort of different colours of sky to the right field.
He didn't quite get back to this. He's got himself in a position, but he caught himself sideways rather than getting behind the ball. So, again, these are things I spoke to a lot of the coaches last night. There's a lot of note-taking going on. There's a lot of feedback that these guys are getting. It's what they need to hear in exact situations. You could have rounded that ball up better. And I know I heard this morning with some of the training situations, they emulated some of these situations for them to give them an understanding about what was going on. And I reckon that's outstanding. One, not necessarily outstanding by the coaching staff, that's their job, but to have this replay to the children is fantastic.
So Campbell Froud into bat for the Stone Crabs. They lead it 2-0. Froud gets himself a nice little hit. Is it going to get down? Coming in is De Gasperis coming in. Just missing it is De Gasperis coming home to score. Is Branch. Sorry, is Calvary. Calvary comes home to score. Just De Gasperis just maybe playing a little deep there. Just couldn't get.
Yeah, you watch this. You see him come in. It's sort of he hustles in hard. Would like to have seen that right fielder come in a bit more to help him out, but he's in the background to help out. So again, these kids are learning the positional adjustments they need to make. That is a great effort for there, because you never know what you're going to do for a dive, but don't take it away from Calverley, who hit a fairly deep fly ball to left field and obviously kept running instead of just thinking he was out. It was going to be a consistent, you've got to get around to that base. So again, good, take an opportunity where it is, and that would be good coaching. Well, I wouldn't say possibly good coaching at first. It's just probably good baseball awareness.
So Jacob de Villa comes in now. De Villa, Jacob de Villa, and Norris still remains 3-0. Crabs lead. Over on first is Froud. Froud goes, but is he going to hustle the third in the end? Froud thinks about it, then decides not to. So Froud trots back to second.
It's the lesson for me. He knows he went in the dirt. So he knows he just went in one direction. He didn't look in time. He hesitated, stopped. He wasn't quite sure what he was doing there. This is where the kids have got to learn to trust the coaches, because I could hear Dan Calverley calling him, and just take the effort, take the next step. You don't want to die wondering. And these are the things that the 16s need to get on board. And there's Dan Calverley there. So he knows what he's doing. He wouldn't put his players, I'm not saying in a harmful situation, but these are the things the kids got to know that they are capable of doing. It's one of those things. Not to say don't die trying, but you don't know what you don't know. So let's just see what happens.
So this is De Villa. As you can tell by now, that's a strike.
He reminds me of Guy. You know, that booming voice.
It does. Well, Guy's will come in at some point. So.
Oh, I'm gonna pay for that one, I reckon.
Swing and a miss. Count goes full now. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Top of the first, a 3-0 lead for the Crabs. The Hot Rods get an opportunity to get bat in hand. That's a piece of that. That's what was missing. The scorers have put the blinds up, and now I can see to the right of. I was wondering what it.
This is really dark at the moment.
That was a strange look before.
I'd like to have known what type of day it was. I spent most of it in a car or in an office. So how nice was it? Do we know?
Well, I was in the office all day, and then I came out here just a couple of minutes before 4, and it was pretty warm. So that one's hit. Well, I think that's going to drop, but coming in to make the brilliant catch in the end is Jackson Stivey. Stivey makes the catch, and that ends the Stone Crabs. Not before they grab the 3 runs, though. The Hot Rods will go and get the bats for the first time. We'll be back for the bottom of the first. Going to head down now to Grady Wolf. Take it away, Grady.
Caitlin Einan from the Bulls. Caitlin, first of all, we'll talk about tonight's game. You guys came back from 7-1 in the last innings to draw. That's massive.
Yeah, I think our base running was really good towards the start of the game, and definitely hard, solid contact throughout the game. So got base runners on base and scored. So, yeah.
And you're a starting pitcher?
Yep.
And have you always grown up a pitcher?
Yeah, I've been pitching basically all the time. I've been playing baseball, so yeah.
Now, most girls play softball. Talk me through how you got into baseball.
Well, all my brothers were playing it up until they quit like 2 years ago. But yeah, I've just never really been interested in softball. Kind of just like the fast-paced game. So, yeah.
Have they tried to sway you into softball at any point?
Yeah, definitely. When I first started kind of Little League, they were like, yeah, you got to go play softball. And I kind of said, no, I'm staying with baseball. So, yeah.
And you are the only girl out of 60-something boys here. How's it been over the past 2 weeks?
It's been challenging at times, but I think like the competition I'm getting against the boys, it's good. It's going to better my game. So yeah.
That's the best mentality you could possibly have. Now, what's next for you? You've just graduated high school. You've got into Curtin. What are you studying there?
I'm doing biomedical science. So yeah.
So you're a jack of all trades. You're superwoman. You can play baseball at a high level. You're smart. Where can we see you going in the future in your baseball game?
Well, hopefully attending a Women's World Cup. I think that would be my goal, and yeah, wherever it takes me.
Where are you training at the moment?
Just with the Heat Futures at the moment, and we've got a few camps coming up for the Australian team, so should be good.
So the draw tonight, back to this series. The draw tonight, grand final tomorrow night. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. It's going to be good. Oh, I don't know. Lots of hits, lots of base runners, I think. Just good pitching as well. I think we've struggled a bit with pitching over the last 2 days, so yeah.
What's your advice to your teammates?
Hit the ball hard. That's about it, I reckon. Hit the ball hard, get on base, score runs.
She's a face that's going somewhere, so remember the name, remember the face. She's going places. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grady Wolf, with Caitlin Anion, who is very impressive.
Look, she's an impressive young lady, and I said I couldn't have enough superlatives to talk about her last night. I did say to her last night, I'm sorry for any embarrassing comments you might hear from me, but I respect her game, her tenacity to playing the game. She has a very focused attention to what she needs to do. The fact that she's mechanically so solid is such a great thing to watch as a pitcher. And, you know, studying the biomedical from that sense is she has an understanding of what her body can do. But, hey, as Grady said, keep her name in your head.
Absolutely.
And watch out for her moving forward.
That's Jack Angeloff on your screen, who's got the ball for the Stone Crabs. As the first pitch he throws to Taj Egan is inside and missing. So for the Hot Rods, it'll be Taj Egan, Mitchell Michael Gasparis, Jack Angel. For the Stone Crabs, mound at Jack Angeloff, who's throwing to George Calvary.
So Jack Angel's going to throw to Jack Angeloff?
Yeah, Jack Angel to Jack Angeloff. It's going to be an angel off. Bad. Daniel Papiccio's out in right field. Riley Hall's in centre field. Nicholas Davies out in left field. That one's banged to the shortstop, who's just got past Aiden Branch. So infield will be Jai Hewitt at third base, Aiden Branch at shortstop, Campbell Froud second baseman, Jacob De Villa over at first. There he reaches on the error.
And this is the joys of playing at this field. As many a player will tell you, that infield is something else. If you play with it scared, if you decide that you want to let this ball play you on this field, it will eat you up.
Throw back to first off the mark. Throw back to seconds off the mark. So in the end, Taj Egan hustles up to second. Just watch the throw there back to first and just missed it.
Under 16 team playing here, and you've got Jake Angeloff there, 185 centimetres. You know, he's a big, strong boy. Sort of, you can see there's a lot of intention. It's a 78-mile-an-hour fastball there. He's got a crow hop throw of maxing out at 86, so there's definitely something in his body. And this is the metric that we're starting to see with a lot of these guys. We can roll out some stats tonight on most of the players. But we need, and people want to hear their ability, what's in their arm. What is the capacity for this arm for flexibility and strength? And I know Jason Ryan from the team, the physio team here, is paramount about creating bodies that are sustainable, and also creating bodies that are going to maximise everything that they've got. So you, in conjunction with Diamond Fitness, and you've got South Street Physio working together, there's some interesting experiments going on with body shapes around here, and Angeloff would be probably one of those guys, because mechanically you could change him a little bit more and probably find another 2 or 3 miles an hour with just a biomechanical shift, not necessarily a physical shift.
Michael De Gasparis at bat. Misses that one. I don't know. Clips the outside corner. So Simon, if someone are at home going, what are you talking about, crow hop? throw.
A crow hop throw. So it's one of the they test. I'll read them out with the testings that they do. So when we do high performance testing over here, you're looking at simple things. You can have a 20-metre sprint, a 60-yard sprint, a throw velocity crow hop. So they stand in front of, they step back, they stand in front of a screen, and they run at it and throw the ball as hard as they can with a radar gun behind it. You look at your throw velocity infield, so they get a ball across the diamond and how fast do they throw it. So usually Rapsodo is a great measurement, and Rapsodo we talked about last night is the ability for a ball to travel over something, and it picks up velocity, it picks up spin rates and everything else. You've got throw time for the catchers, velocity, so how quickly they can get it across the diamond. You've got pop time, which is really an interesting one. Pop time being literally the ability for the catcher to pop up and throw to second. Now, people say, oh, you know, what are you talking? We're talking 2 seconds. Now, as you get into the big leagues, it goes considerably lower. And then tee exit velocity. And this is a simple one of you put a ball on a tee and you swing the bat as hard as you can to see what's inside that swing. Now, I think the benchmark, to give everybody an indicator of what's going on, the benchmark for a basically tee exit velocity is around about 100 miles an hour before they want to look at you. So, you know, I'm looking at these stats for some of these guys, 80s, 70s, 60s, 80s, 88s. I've got Jeff Kerr the other night. You've got someone like Jai Hewitt, who's a only young guy who's hitting 85, 86, which is outstanding for a young man, but there's a lot of strength behind what he's doing. I haven't seen too many triple digits before, but I believe in the high performance at one stage I was seeing Dylan Bialski just hitting 100 off the bat speed, and I wasn't quite sure. I think it was literally 101.
Here's your Jack Angel off versus Jack Angel duel. Is Angel off the pitcher, Jack Angel the pitcher, Jack Angel off the batter. So Jack Angel off the pitcher, Jack Angel the batter is stolen base from De Gasperis.
So Angel playing in at first base. Wouldn't it be fun if he was playing in the outfield?
Hey, yeah. Have yourself a Disney movie. Or Angels and Angel off, Angels in the outfield.
Yep. Other things commentators have to do to keep themselves amused.
I do want him to go out to the outfield now. And just, I mean, that'd be a
We've
great
got an
hire.
Angel in the outfield.
Yeah. takes one of the great catches out. Angel in the outfield. The Angel off to Angel. And Angel wins that battle. Oh, takes a funny hop from Papiccio out there at right base and right field, should I say. And coming home to score is De Gasperis. But it looked almost like Papiccio sort of thought he knew what was going to happen, and then it took a leg break.
100% there. If we get to see this, we see the ball travel to right field. You watch his head. He looks up like he's looking over towards second base, and it's just taken a nasty hop. Don't spend it before you get it.
Yes, that was just one of those hops that you just it's one of those regulation things that sometimes cannot be as regulation as Cruz Brendan comes in.
So this is one of the diamonds in the rough, you know, and it's not an insult to him. This is a kid that's you know, his parentage is very strong. With the game of baseball, with Max, his dad. But what I've seen of him in high performance has been nothing but a thirst for knowledge and a quest to move up the ladder, both physically and mentally. Like he's doing the driveline, the biomechanical. But I saw when I first met him, I thought, this is a kid who's worked on his physique of baseball to try and maximise what he's got. Great experience, and by all indications so far, he's having a pretty much just stellar training sessions.
So Egan strikes out there, Cruz Brendan, as Angel off gets the first out of the inning. As Egan De Gasperis have scored to make it 2 runs to the Hot Rods. Angel is on second base, and up to bat Jackson Stivey. He took a nice catch in left field.
What he did show was a good ability to recover from a muff fly that he took in earlier. He just didn't quite get himself around it, but he recovered, composed himself and took a very good catch to end that inning in the last. Solid 78 miles an hour there from Angelov.
Dan Vaughan just tuning in from Texas to see what's happening. Big strike.
The great man. That's weird. Dan's tuning in while we're commentating.
Yeah. That's always, of course, the Kansas City T-Bone season not far away. So,
Rebuilt their clubhouse, is that right?
Yeah,
T-Bone?
I think so. I think they did
Some walls.
yeah, did some good things took advantage of time with no fans there to upgrade the stadium there. So, of course, Dan Vaughan doing some work with the ABL to get a reciprocal deal with sort of an affiliation with Baseball Australia and the American Association. So hopefully sometime down the track, some Australian players will start heading over to the association to play, and already plenty of American Association players playing in the ABL. So,
and that's an interesting thing you talk about that, because we look at the information and what the reason we're doing this program was the nationals are not around. So there's got to be aspirational baseball.
Yep.
So we talk about playing first step college ball, or making a representative team, an Australian team. Then we talk about college ball. And then we talk, what's the next step? Are we talking about minor league baseball? Now, for some people, it's a great piece of hitting by Stivey.
Stivey gets that, coming home to score to tie the ball game. Stivey stays at first, and coming home to score is Jack Angel. 3-3 tied ball game.
So that's a great piece of hitting. He's seen a couple of curveballs in that at bat, and he sort of hung with them, but this is good. Just sits there and drives it straight out to there. Much better hitter than his brother. I'll pay for that one too.
Yep.
But ultimately, we talk about minor league baseball.
Yep.
What is sometimes forgotten is independent ball.
Yep.
And it's not, for those that are not aware of it, independent ball is, if not as good as minor league baseball, and sometimes better than minor league baseball. It's not a place where minor league players go to die.
No.
It's where they go to be resurrected.
Yep.
It's where some of them go for rehab for a period of time. And it's also still a community of baseball. And Dan's obviously a massive part of that, and has got probably more me interested in what goes on with independent ball as well.
Xavier Fatai up now, the red shoes for Xavier. But yeah, so I guess this whole gamut is building pathways. If these kids can get onto college, get into minor leagues, if they can't get there, build an Australian team potentially in the American Association, get more at-bats, more reps. Everyone gets better. So,
I mean, we've had a series of the WA, or the Heat players.
Fatai smacks that one straight to Branch, who will throw it, makes the catch, throw across double play, and will end the inning. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll head down to Grady Wolf as it's tied ball game. Bottom of the first, the Hot Rods and the Stone Crabs.
Kane Newham from the Stone Crabs. Kane, you're not actually taking part in the games. What happened?
I injured my thumb on Friday night, sliding to second.
Yeah, and so you've had surgery yesterday and you're still out here today cheering your team on.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to support them as best as I can on the side.
Well, you make the uniform look pretty good on the sidelines. Were you pretty upset to miss out, or are you pretty happy to be here?
I mean, I am upset that I injured myself for the last week, but I'm pretty happy to be here.
And how long are you out for?
4 weeks in a cast and then rehab for a few weeks.
At least it's kind of the end of baseball season, is that right?
Yeah.
So you got most of the season done, but at least you're out here cheering the boys on. Are you excited for tomorrow night? Hopefully it's not a draw.
Yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow night just to see how everyone goes.
What's your advice for the boys to not get another draw?
Just be aggressive and run the bases hard.
Absolutely. Well, I hope your rehab goes well and we're all thinking of you.
Grady Wolf down there doing a great job chatting to the guys, and as these young guys are part of the, I guess the important part of, well, it's not necessarily as important as how you play, but to get the exposure to a little bit of media training as well, and kind of take the interviews and get your nerves down there, Simon, is something that as they grow and kind of get bigger and better, they're going to have to.
They're going to have to go through this. There's some deer in headlights. We've seen a few deer in headlights, and not that we're saying Grady is scary, but you put a microphone in front of quite a few people, and they overthink situations, and me, I overtalk situations, but that's life. Get over it. Ultimately, this is a factor and part of the game that they're going to need to have an experience, because imagine if you go to college as an Australian and you're successful, guess what? You're going to get a microphone shoved under your nose. As Warwick said, you know, you go there, all of a sudden he's got a whole stadium. Last night Warwick Sawpole said, a whole stadium of Boston's fans going, go home, you Aussie, you know, positives and negatives. And I think probably the player that stands out the most for me on the field as a communicator to the crowd was... I literally just had a brain melt. Grant Balfour. Yeah. You know, the Balfour rage. But then off the screen, he was quite a placid guy, but he knew exactly what he was doing. He taught himself to handle himself with a microphone, but to handle himself on a field completely different. And a lot of kids don't know how to handle themselves in front of a screen, a microphone, or something like that.
Daniel Papiccio at bat. Yeah, it's funny. It's Jesse Neraltus. I think it's a funny time for athlete/media relations these days, as so many athletes have, you know, obviously millions of followers, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of followers on social media, but the smart athletes know how to work the media, because typically a lot of journalists love to get headlines and the less you give them, the more they try to get off you. So,
and well, that's your skill as well, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm a little retired these days, but no, it used to be, and you know, you do. It's one of those games that you do, and you know, Dan Vaughan and I were sort of only having this conversation the other day. You know, the more you like someone as a player, the less likely you are to really cook them. And there's 1,000 stories from talking to a lot of old journalists at the moment, sports journalists, who protect these players, because they know all these. They've got so much sort of you know, a lot of players don't. Some of the old school players got up to some old school tricks, and you know, the old school journos know when to push the buttons and not. So it's I think with the young guys, it's a skill they still need to learn, because people still need to sell newspapers and get cooked. But Papiccio sends that one out to left field, and Stivey makes the catch, the first out.
Yeah, it's not something that I experience too often as a player. It's not that hard, but you know, sure, you're used to being potentially on screen in TVs and you're playing. That's a different kettle of fish. So that persona is not what is off the field. Now, with a lot of these young guys, I know quite a few of them, and their personalities really shine off the field. You'd like to see some of those personalities come out on the field, or even just be different. That's a learning for a lot of these guys. And again, yesterday we spoke about Bob Ossie and these lessons in life. The lessons in life are for on and off the field. And this program has been, you know, we had Spanish lessons. That was great for these guys to have that something different given to them. And you know, you may not ever get to travel to a Spanish-speaking country, but if you're going to play baseball at a high level, you better learn Spanish.
Absolutely. 0-2 count on Nick Davis. We had Dean White in here last night, and Dean sort of said when he got signed to the Atlanta Braves and he arrived with all the international players, every international player only spoke Spanish outside of Dean. So it's that one's going to hit Davis.
I learnt Spanish, but in the wrong way. A lot of the import players that came over here, and you listen to them. Most of the time they spoke Spanish is when things went wrong. So we learnt some really colourful Spanish language that, quite frankly, was quite useful sometimes.
Back to the top of the lineup for the Stone Crabs, Riley Hall. So one down. BJ Cook come in shortly. Talk about a young player who's got a bright future, Simon. Yeah,
it's a great talent. Was in the under-18s with us last year. Part of the terrible twins, Stivey and Cook, as I used to call them. You know, Swan District's products, but BJ's excelled in these programs as he's gotten older. So he was always a talent, and he was a talented player and always stood out above the rest. But now he's starting to know how to stand out and know what to do and know there's an end goal. Unfortunately, in the moment, he's having a bit of a growth plate issue with his body, but that's not an injury as such. That's just his body reacting to what he's doing. And we'll talk about, I'll give you a chance to talk about what he's done recently that's caught the eyes of many a baseball scout.
So Riley Hall in 1-0 count on Hall, the pitch, and that one's hit back to the pitcher. They're going to get a double play here. For one, throws across. So Brendan throws across to Angel. The bang-bang double play. Time for us to have another look here. Pretty play, straight back to Nereltis, throws across to Cruz. Brendan throws across to Jack Angel, gets the bang-bang play. 3-3 here. We'll take a breakdown to Grady Wolf. Back for more shortly as BJ Cook makes his way into the booth.
Campbell Frau from the Stone Crabs. Campbell, you got to warm up for pitching very shortly. It's game 2 tonight. Are you excited?
Yeah, very excited. Tonight we just hope less walks, more hits tonight. Just put it in play.
It was a draw last night. How are you taking that into tonight's game?
Yesterday's game was mostly walks and just pass balls, so we just hope we cut down on those.
And how's the past 2 weeks been out here?
Oh, it's been really fun. A lot of learning opportunities, a lot of new friends I've made from different teams. It's been really good.
And what are you most looking forward to tonight and tomorrow night?
Oh, just getting a hit, pitching, just usual stuff.
Best of luck. We can't wait to see how you go. Thanks so much.
Welcome back to Empire Ballpark. Bottom of the second here, 3-all. Paul Morgan's my name. BJ Cook joining me. And BJ, welcome to the booth. I know you're excited to be here in the booth.
Yeah, very excited. Dino got me up in here and ready to have a chat.
You are indeed. So you should have been out here, but you're not. And could have been with heat as well, but also not. So slight injury that you're just nursing along.
Yeah, it does suck a bit. It was probably about 13 weeks ago. Had a MRI and got the results back. Just that's a growth plate issue. But slowly getting it sorted and hopefully back in the next 2 weeks, throwing again.
That's good news. Jack Angeloff will continue to ply his trade on the hill. Boston Foot will be in. Boston Foot fouls that first one off. Now, some impressive stats I've heard so far, BJ, for you, but there was sort of a velocity that I guess started to catch the attention of some of the scouts for you.
Yeah, I've been working pretty hard, probably over the last 18 months prior to the injury. I believe I actually had the injury for a little while, and just never really got it noticed it, I guess. But yeah, the velocity comes from, I guess, just training, and I love long toss. We do the drive line stuff, but not really into that sort of thing. So the long toss, I love long tossing. And like what Simon said before, Maddox and I are throwing partners.
Yep.
And yeah, during training, I like to stretch it out a bit.
Now they tell me you touched 100.
Yeah, I did during tryouts when we were doing the arm testing. That was the first time in my life I've ever done that. It's pretty exciting.
It's very exciting. Very exciting. So you're 17, BJ? Is it 17?
Yeah, 17, 18 in March.
So 18 in March, you can touch 100. You've got a growth plates on the way back. You're hoping to see some action potentially for the Heat. Depends how long that season goes for. But if you're back in the next few weeks, or just sort of slowly back and get some innings in with Swans.
Yeah, maybe get some innings with Swans.
There's a base hit there for Boston Foot. Gets it aboard.
Yeah, hopefully get some innings in with Swans towards the end of the year, but I'm not in a rush to get back into it. I think with the Heat, might jump in for the training towards the end of the year, but I think next season I'm looking to get back into it more seriously, I guess.
Voice you hear is BJ Cook, young prospect. So what's your As we're going to have a potentially a pitching change here. We are going to have a pitching change as Jack Angeloff will make his way out and coming in to the game. He is. I'll tell you in a second. Hold caller. And it is Kyan Bertoloni coming into the game. So, what do you prefer to start or relief?
I love to start. Yeah, I love to set the tempo for the game and for the boys behind me.
And, any differences for you if you come in relief? Like, how's your for a young guy, your I guess the mental aspect of your game. How do you kind of? I mean, we talk to Simon all the time, and Simon Ison's the all-time wins leader for the Heat. Like when you're on the mound and you're starting to get into, maybe you've walked a guy, maybe you can't find the zones. I mean, what do you do? What do you say to yourself? What do you? How do you kind of shift back from sort of like how do you get your mind back, and how important is that to your game?
Yeah, I kind of listen to my mum. Mum says just take a step off the mound, take a deep breath in, reset, and I just know that most of the time the guys behind me have my back, and I think for every young player that's a big thing. Like the pitcher is like you're the main guy, but the guys behind you are there to help, obviously. So just filling up the zone and doing your role, I guess.
Absolutely. So for you and having a mate down at Swans like Maddox Stivey, obviously makes life pretty easy. You guys are sort of on a similar trajectory, I suppose.
Yeah, Maddox and I have been playing together since before Little League, I guess, machine pitch. So probably 7, I guess. Yeah. So it's been a while, been playing together, and there's a bunch of other boys, like Tyson Knoll. Who else is on my team? I've been playing with Riley Franklin, Jay Reynolds, like all the boys in the under-18s team. I've grown up playing alongside them, and it's been really good. Have a really good bond, and we all gel together really well.
And you're not out there tonight, well, you're not out there for this showcase, but from your perspective, who, like, obviously no national chance, what is this Tampa Bay Rays showcase? I mean, how good is it for guys like yourself? Obviously you're not playing, but I mean,
yeah.
What is it, the whole minor league experience, like what is it, what have you got from it, from the time that you've sort of been involved with it? What have you got from, what do you like about it?
Yeah, obviously I really love to be out there like tonight and for last night and obviously tomorrow night. Just dying to get out there, but coaching first base at the moment it's all right, and I get to watch all the other guys, showcase their stuff. But for WA, this is really big, and I think we're heading in the right direction if we keep doing stuff like this. Even though next couple of years the national championship will come back, hopefully, if we can slot this in somewhere. But I think it's really good for the guys to get that experience, like in the minor leagues. And around this age, I guess, is the time where you got to choose if you want to commit to it or if you just want to play. And doing things like this will just, it's an eye opener for all the young blokes out there that it's going to take a lot if you want to go all the way.
Absolutely. The voice you're hearing is BJ Cook as Bertolini throws to Tyler Houston. So 17, you're almost 18. You can throw 100. You've got a high ceiling. I mean, what's next? What would you love the next step to be? Would you love a minor league, major league team to come and sign you now? Would you love to go the college option? What's your what would be in a perfect world if you could write a script? What would it be?
Geez, there's so many different ways to do things, but for myself and just having conversations with my parents, I think I'd really love to go to college, but I don't want to, close the door either way. I just want to give the best opportunity for myself, because obviously I want to, be on the big stage one day, and whatever opportunity arises that gives me the best, puts me in the best place to compete and be put in front of the right people. I'll choose that route.
Absolutely. So back at the ball game, no one out in this one. Bottom of the second. I told you when you come in, it's you always, when you do the half inning interviews, it's always a long inning. So it's
yeah, it was a conversation I actually had with some of the coaches in the media room. Yeah, we had a bit of a joke about it, but I'm sure the boys will figure out a way to turn a quick double play maybe.
Quick double play. So what is, like, put yourself in Kyle Bertolini's situation here. You got no one out. You got runners on first and second. I mean, are you thinking double play ball right now? Are you thinking how do you get a ground ball? Are you just thinking out throwing strikes?
Definitely. Throwing strikes obviously is the big one, but definitely double play ball helps out here, keeping the ball down. It'll put him in the best position to get out of the inning.
We go again for Bertolini and throw to Mecklenberry, the right fielder. Runners on first and second, no one out. Animated. How pumped up does the umpire get? Like with the big strike call like that. I mean,
Yeah.
Is it? How's that for you? Is that like, okay, cool? I'm hearing the strikes. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, definitely. Umpires affect the game highly, and if they're getting behind it and they're into the game just as much as you are, it helps. But he's doing a great job. All the umpires actually over the last couple of days and tomorrow night. Yeah, it's good.
There we go. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 count. The pitch and. Yeah, don't even need to say it to strike. So
Yeah.
1-2 count, should I say?
Right now, strikeout's looking pretty good. If he can get a strikeout and then, get a 2 ball, so he puts himself in a good position.
Looks back and pitch and there you go. You're the Oracle, BJ. You know what's going to happen. So big strikeout there. Gets the first out of the inning. Tell me, I'm interested because we always, typically, guys like Simon come in who pitched obviously in a different era to you. Now, you have so much access to so much footage in comparison to what people did, even 10, 20 years ago. You can watch every Major League Baseball game. You can watch all the highlights. You can watch historical games. What do you do outside of on the field to learn the game? What information are you consuming outside of the field to better yourself?
Yeah, I guess obviously the technology is incredible these days. Like we have the Rhapsodo and there's some other things, the blast motion sensors. It gives us a lot of feedback and information about our swings and when we're pitching, how we can change things. But also there's other component obviously. Through the high performance program, we have some information sessions that we run through Diamond Fitness, and that shows us we did some nutritional stuff, some anti-doping stuff. So it shows us all aspects, I guess, of the sport, and they're doing a really great job of the mental side and also the physical side, getting in the gym.
Diamond Fitness, of course. Dean White and Co. They're building it. That'll be quite handy. The gym's getting built, the Diamond Fitness gym at the ballpark here, so you can just
really handy
work
that
on and off.
That they're building that up. I only live 10 minutes away, so it'd be much better for me to get down here than travelling all the way out to Osborne Park.
There you go.
Yeah.
Of course, if you're watching and wanting to get fit as well at the ballpark, you can sign up to Diamond Fitness. Do a great job. And at what part did you start going, okay, well, I think I might be okay at this pitching thing, and I might, see how far it can take me away. And then, I guess, from your point of view, when did you start going, okay, well, got to get in the strength and conditioning, got to get in the nutrition? Was that a couple of years back, or?
I think when I first came into the high performance program, we started lifting. I guess I was in that age group. Through school I did some lifting, but not a lot because we were always told, it's unhealthy, it's stunts your growth, all this stuff. But, doing my certs, I've done my certification to be a personal trainer and my diploma through Diamond.
Yep.
And that's kind of given me some information, I guess, that the younger you start, the better, even if it's not weights, just getting into the gym and at Diamond, they do a really great job. They have a great program they run for the young ones. Like some of these blokes, they're 14, 15, which is kind of that good age to start getting into the gym and developing their bodies and getting them ready for the next stage.
Taj Egan gets himself, Taj Egan walks, but then coming in was De Gasperis, who gets a little single and scores the runner as well. So here you go. Look on the replay here. Just gets it. Just a little blooper just in the shortstop there. So the Hot Rods take the lead 4-3. The voice you're hearing, BJ Cook, who could have been out here for the 18s, just got a little injury to get over, but also you'll see him for the heat, and maybe Team Australia, I assume, would be one of your goals, under 23s.
Yeah, actually, hopefully end of this year, under 18s.
Under 18, should I say?
Yeah, hopefully get around that team this year, and yeah, we'll just see what happens with the arm, I guess. I'm really hoping to get ready for that. That'll be really exciting.
It's hitting foul territory, running out of reel, so Jai Hewitt almost takes the catch on the fence, but just bounces out of the glove. See Hewitt here again, just run out of room in the end. Yeah, took the old, went for the chest mark, but just hit the fence. Jack Angel. Not bad. As Bertolini throws. Missing outside. So what are you doing rehab-wise at the moment, BJ, just to get the arm back in shape?
Well, I haven't actually been doing anything for probably, like I said, about 13 weeks now. So I'm busting to get out. I actually got cleared to start heading off a tee the other day, and I've never been more excited to hit off a tee in my life. So apart from that, I got back into diamond the other day. I'm actually pretty sore today and yesterday, but yeah, just getting back into diamond over the next couple of weeks, and just getting ready to throw again.
Perfect.
Yeah, my physio at South Street Physio, Jason Ryan's done a really good job at setting me up and getting me ready, working on my mobility. He's really gone above the expectation, I guess.
A walk in a run there as Angel draws a walk. Bertolini just missing high, bringing in Cruz Brendan. So when is the Australian under 18s? Is that back into the year?
I believe it's September, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. So I know they've got a camp in April. So hopefully we get a few WA boys to go over for that and showcase what they can do and see what happens.
Pitch coming in for Bertolini as that one is banged back. Should turn two. Got the first. Going to hold on. Coming home to score is Taj Egan. The Hot Rods get another. 6-3 now. The Hot Rods lead as. See there, almost had the chance to turn two, but just put it in his pocket. So you got now BJ at the ability to throw 100. I mean, have any of the scouts started to kind of have a chat to you now, or the colleges sort of have a chat to you now?
Yeah, I've had a few conversations, I guess. But I guess there's the injuries, haven't spoken in a little while.
Yep.
Play at the plate here.
There we go, got him. Oh, no, safe. I thought he got him there, but heads up running from De Gasperis. We'll have another look at it here. Let's have a look here. Umpire was there on the scene, so have to take his word for it. There we go. Have another look at it here. Oof. He's got the arm down to Gasperis. A good, well, there you go. Boy, that's hit hard and deep to left field, but coming in to make the catch is Davis. And that means, BJ, that ends your time in the booth. But it's been a pleasure learning more about you, and wish you nothing but the best as you continue your career, and hope to see you in the Heat colours and MLB colours sometime soon.
Cool, awesome. Thank you very much for having me.
Then we'll head it down to Grady Wolf.
TK Kurosawa from the Biscuits. TK, how do you assess the performance just then?
It was caught me under pressure a little bit, but gotta keep working hard, and tomorrow's a new day.
And you're the only switch hitter in all of the teams here. How do you feel about that? It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool being the only switch hitter here, but it's pretty cool, I guess.
Did you grow up as a switch hitter? Like, how did you teach yourself how to hit from both sides?
Watching YouTube, watching YouTube, and just working hard in the backyard.
Yeah, and you just graduated high school. What's next? College? Is that on the cards?
Yeah, I verbally committed to Feather River College, and hopefully plan on going this year, August. Yeah.
That's exciting. And you've got dreadlocks. That's a pretty unique, cool look. What's that about?
I don't know. As a kid, I've always wanted dreadlocks, and one of my favourite players has them, so I just got them.
That's pretty exciting. And what's your mentality heading into tomorrow night's game?
Hit the ball hard, stay cool under pressure, and think to play ahead.
Is it going to take like a lot of runs on the board early tomorrow night, like tonight?
Hopefully we get a lot of runs, but yeah.
Best of luck, and we can't wait to see where your career takes you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Grady Wolf, for another quality interview down there. Thanks to Diamond Fitness, doing some great work here, Diamond Fitness. And as we talked to BJ Cook just before, as he's left the box, Simon Isons has rejoined. And Simon, if you got to turn back the hands of time and be 18 again or 17 again and a picture on the rise, that'd be an exciting prospect for you.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't be writing on stone tablets if we went back to the age of 17, which would have been great. Look, I've seen the likes, let's say, of BJ and what he's been doing through the programs that Dean has put forward. I was never a scholar by any stretch of the imagination. If I'd had the opportunity to be exposed to what the Diamond Fitness certifications have given you, the access to the people to make you better, I had dreams like everybody else to be. You know, if I didn't know about pro baseball, which I didn't know too much of back then, my dream was actually to play in the Japan Industrial Leagues. Was to play over there, and I tried to work hard at the game, but at that point in time, it didn't work. These kids have access to so much more, and this opportunity cannot be taken lightly. And the likes of BJ, who I've got to know over the last 18 months as well, through the 18s, has seen a guy grow into the game of baseball, grow into what he knows about the game of baseball, but also understand that there's more to life. I mean, there's an incredibly funny side to the young man, and you see it on his social media. You know, he's well connected, so to speak, in terms of his followers, and they all know, and the terrible twos who throw together, Maddox and BJ. When you see them on the baseball field, these kids have a lot of fun doing something ridiculously easy. And they make it look easy. It's kind of insulting as well at the same time. But great kids, good family. But again, they've been around this program. So the kids that we're looking at right now, look up to BJ and Maddox and TK and Choi and a lot of the guys that have come through, and understand you're next.
Absolutely. It's Samakawa watches that one go by. Full count here for Jesse Neraltus. Remains on the hill for the Hot Rods, who enjoy a 7-3 lead over the Stone Crabs. Under 16s baseball. The Perth Tampa Bay Rays showcase. Swing and a miss. Got him. So Neraltus gets the strikeout on Samakawa. Bring up Jai Hewitt. Question before in the YouTube chat, is Jai Hewitt Jason Hewitt's son? Yes, he is.
That's you can't get any more correct than that there. Mad Carlton fans, and just mad in general. For one thing, Jason's obviously a very good friend, and I've seen Jai grow up over the years, and you always knew that baseball was going to be in his blood. But I like the fact that he's one of these other kids who also plies his trade at another sport in the AFL. He loves his football, and a pretty gifted player of sports like his dad was. Jason always said he could play basketball, and he could run around a little nugget. But I love watching him play with Jai in basketball in the backyard. I've seen some videos of them. There's no love lost between these two boys. There is no love lost between the two men that challenge each other a lot. And I kind of like that. That's a good way to approach what you do. You know, take every opportunity with a bit of intensity.
Absolutely. 2-1 count now on Hewitt. Got himself good position in his last at bat. Hewitt is on that high one and fouls it off. So it'll be Hewitt and Aiden Branch behind him. Did you throw to Jason Hewitt much in club ball land?
Yes, unfortunately.
Neraltus just picks it up, drops it, picks it up, just can't get it in the end, and Hewitt finds himself on first base. But with the comeback, Neraltus did his fielding, got everything right, and then just the ball played tricks on him.
So I can tell you that the first learning from that is going to be glove down, hand on top of the ball, catcher in it. You don't just spend it before it's there again. It's one of those things that I'm sure Arnie's going to bring up with him and think, hey, remember, stay down on the ball. You've got plenty of time. Yeah, I threw to Jason, unfortunately, a lot of times, and the things that annoyed me the most, and kind of glad he was a teammate for quite a few years, both with the Heat and at South Perth, was, God, he never gave up in an at-bat. It was borderline horrible that you could get 2 strikes on, and then this is, and he coaches this exceedingly well. Just the ability to stay in an at-bat is critical for success, because at some point in time, pitchers can mentally give up a little bit, and it's taking the advantage of those moments, which Jason and the likes of Adam Korcher were very famous for. They were annoying in the sense that you always knew you had to be on your game when you were facing them. And the other thing was they never gave in, or in this case, Jay never gave in. And bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, 2 runs down, he'd find a way to get on, he'd find a way to steal, he'd find a way to put pressure on. And people just, a lot of times, just jumped on his back, and he carried a lot of teams to success.
Aiden Branch in the box. How's that one off? Jar Hewitt over on first base. The pitcher is Jesse Neraltus, who's doing a good job for the Hot Rods. Here he is, number 41.
You know, in terms of yesterday's game, the pitches so far have been greatly improved. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot more strikes in there. There's a lot more swings being taken. Obviously, more runs and batted contact. Need to tidy up the fielding a little bit more. But generally, they're making adjustments, is what we said that we wanted to see from this game.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely this game, huge improvement over the first game that these guys played yesterday. So they've got the maybe it's the lights. They're loving it under the lights, but it's the 4 o'clock game tomorrow. Their last game in the showcase. They're playing for the. I don't remember if they're playing for the Jason Hewitt Cup or the Bob Ossie Cup.
Not sure, but there's 2 cups that look identical the same, and yet the 2 men look completely different.
Bob will be here. It was one of the highlights, as you mentioned. Bob Ossie, a legend of West Australian baseball, was down talking to the lads about some rules and principles that made him a handy baseballer and successful in life as well. Branch hits that one hard and deep. That's a great hit from Branch. Getting under it is Stivey, backing back and drops it in left field. So Hewitt was sort of waiting to see what the outcome was, but got his wheels on, got to second in time. But Stivey got in good position there. The wind sort of held up the ball, but you see Stivey tracking back, and it looked good, and then just
it's not one of those ones where, again, positioning of the body is critical to what you were doing. No, he went back because that ball was hit hard, but the breeze is, I was about to comment, the breeze is blowing exceptionally hard out there. He went back, but he's got to understand that if he's got a runner in that position, it's not just camp underneath it. Get yourself into a movable position, in this case moving forward. He seemed to the ball seemed to carry in front of him and,
Yep.
and dive away from it because he didn't position himself underneath the baseball.
And Breeze really did pick up just before that. Jai Hewitt on your screen. Got a change here. We'll just
That's George Calverley.
George Calverley. I don't know why I've written on my lineup card that he's number 2, so that's my bad. Not because he's playing catcher. That's why I know exactly what I've done.
Yeah, it's for those who kind of wonder what type of commentary that we're calling. It's not error-free comedy. We've got lists, we've got tendencies, we've got all sorts of things. We've got player changes, we've got iPads, we've got computers, we've got phones going. You know, keeping up with it at times can be a little bit challenging, especially with player changes.
Especially when you don't have the big screen on. Like, that's usually the saviour in a heat game is like the guys next door will put up a graphic of who's coming to pitch or who's come in, and you just need to look up, and it's great.
But I'll tell you what, and that's one thing we need to make mention of, the opportunity to telecast these games presented by Showscreens. You know, Paul and you and I have worked with these guys for years, and they've been exceptional. The camera work, you know, we know they're listening into the conversation pieces when we talk about the slide at home plate was a great example. We'd love to see what that looked like, and we see it. We see these catches in outfield. They know the game, and this is a big part of the player development. They get to go home and see this, so they're hearing feedback directly from you and I, and they're looking at themselves. And I kind of hope they take a piece of this, and you know, Jai gets a haircut, as we saw before. But if we take a piece of this and go, okay, I can see what I was doing and the feedback that's coming through, matching that with what the coaches are saying, because that's what's going to happen when they get over there. They're going to go to college and spend time in front of video cameras and video rooms.
Yep, absolutely. Big swing and miss, and down goes Cavalry on strikes. Bringing Campbell Frau, but yeah, the Showscreens guys doing an exceptional job. In fact, I was watching the Heat game today while I was watching. Oh, the Heat game was on while the 18s game was on, and you know, this camera work from Showscreens and the way they put it together is actually easy to watch this game that was the Heat game. So
yeah, it's a simple what we've got. We've got a 3-screen position, 3 cameras, one behind home plate, one down on the left field line, just near the gate at the entrance of the players' dugout, and one just on the home run fence. And integral part to this guy is the guy down in the dugout. He's following the ball, he's following the players. But what we don't see is the man behind the microphone, so to speak, and not us, is calling the camera positions, telling them to move around. So the intelligence, we talk about baseball intelligence. These guys have got camera baseball intelligence.
100%. 100%. It's Showscreens crew doing an amazing job as capturing these pictures, and there's the centre field cameraman there.
Hey, that's it.
Shackers. So that's from the camera that sits in behind home plate on the concourse, and then the third camera just down on the third base line. So they're doing a great job. They're doing an awesome job, and unsung heroes in many ways. Best in the country by far, Simon.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Nerelthus pitches, and runner goes. Jai Hewitt's going to get caught short at third, I think. He is, yes. Got the jump, got caught short. But, watch it here, the runner goes. It's a good call from... It's a good throw as well from Boston Foot. So throw was on the money from Foot to Xavier Fatai. Hewitt out third. So that'll do us here. We'll head to the home half, back to Grady Wolf. Quick timeout from us. Back for more shortly.
Jacob Santich from the Bulls. Jacob, you're a catcher. How did you rate your performance tonight?
I think I played well tonight. I got a few knocks. A bit unfortunate about that last at bat where I flew out to right field, but it is what it is.
That's okay. You guys came back from 7-1 to draw the game. How do you feel about that?
It was quite exciting watching all the boys really gel together. They really performed well for the team, and it was a good comeback here.
Were You were a bit nervous for the boys out there, loaded bases in the end. How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, I was quite nervous seeing that. Obviously, I wanted them to get a job done. Unfortunately, you always can't get it done, but they did their best.
So now that's 2 draws. It just shows how competitive the talent is here in WA. How do you take that into tomorrow night's game?
I think we should get here early, work as well, work well as a team. We got to gel together, train well.
We're all excited to see the grand final tomorrow night. Best of luck. Thank you.
Well, back at Empire Ballpark, Paul Morgan's taking a step out, and in the booth with me tonight is Keely Embry. Now, Keely, you have a unique role amongst 2 under-16s and 2 under-18 teams who are certainly social media savants out there. Well, they all think they are with their Instagram and Snapchat and whatever else they've going on. But your role is media and social media for the showcase. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
So what do you actually do?
Well, this week I've been doing all the behind-the-scenes stuff, all the social media, posting team lists, spreadsheets with all the data from their media profile things I had to do. That's about it, really.
Yeah, I love how you say that's about it, because someone of my age probably would die in keyboard hell, as one would call it. But you've done a very good job, because from watching it from the outside in, you see easy footage, you see simple footage. What is your keys to success when doing social media?
That's a really good question.
So, do you have, when you start to design something, when you have a thought in your head, because I was talking to you in the room and you were very comfortable about the way conversations go. Surely social media for you is comfortable for your generation. Do you have a plan in your head to go, I'd like to only a small segment, or I'd like this to draw out, and you see a series of things that you want to take pictures or social media of?
Well, this week I kind of just was like, I'll just do the basics, like just put names down and things like that. But the more I started doing it, the more ideas I got, and things kind of just flowed, and I got more than what I hoped for, I guess.
So what do you mean by ideas? What have you seen that you've developed?
So for like the showcase covers, there's been ideas that have come up in my head, like putting logos on them instead of just names and things like that.
Is this a future job for you, or is this just, or is this work experience?
Probably just work experience.
Yeah.
I am starting at Diamond Fitness with Dean at the moment, so I'm doing my Cert 3 to become a personal trainer.
Excellent.
Out there, so
what people won't be able to see is she's wearing a softball of Western Australia. So
yeah.
You are a state team softballer.
Yes.
Yeah. Position?
I play middle infield mostly, or first base.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, put me anywhere and I'll play it, I guess. Just don't put me behind the plate.
Okay. So with softball for you, has always been softball? Has been any other sports?
I did start playing netball when I was a younger age, and I was like, nah, I'm going to stick to netball, that's it. And then my family grew up playing softball and baseball, and I was like, I'll give it a shot, see how we go. That was about 7 years ago, and I haven't looked back.
Haven't looked back?
No.
And now you're studying to be a personal trainer.
Yeah.
I got to ask the obvious question. Who's your favourite trainer at Diamond Fitness?
If I'm going to be honest with you, my favourite trainer would have to be JK, but my overall favourite is Dean. Dean's taught me a lot. I wouldn't be...
He's your favourite, but you can't have an overall favourite, so we're going to stick with JK.
Okay.
Dean's your boss. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Dean's your boss, but go on about, you were telling us about Dean.
Yeah, Dean's taught me a lot. I probably wouldn't be the person I am, or like where I am today, if it wasn't for Dean. And the Diamond Fitness program, I started off my diploma not last year, the year before, and have not looked back. Like, it was the best decision I ever made.
In what way? So that's interesting because Paul Morgan asked me before, you know, I never had the opportunity to do this. In what way is it the best decision? What drew you to the opportunity that you're at now?
Mainly just because, well, I went to start.
Sure. At what point? When were you introduced to Diamond? When were you introduced to Diamond Fitness? I guess
Through school
Yep.
to do my vet through vet. I was introduced there through people I already knew.
Yep.
And then when I went out there, I just fell in love with the place. I fell in love with the atmosphere, that everyone that was there, and it's brought me out of my shell. Like, if you come to me this time 2 years ago, I would not be sitting in this chair right now. There's no way.
Yeah,
No
we were
chance.
talking briefly inside, and this was certainly an uncomfortable experience for you to be
Yeah.
in here. But like, I've seen what you've produced, and often you would see the person behind the camera doesn't sort of start talking on the camera, so
Yeah.
to speak. And this is a golden opportunity for you to see a different side of what, you know, your training and your processing is going through Diamond
Yeah.
Fitness right now. Baseball. Yes or no?
To play it, no, but watching it and being around it and doing what I'm doing now, 100%.
Yeah. Do you have a favourite team you follow? Locally?
locally?
And worldwide?
Not locally, I don't know, but Major League, I don't really follow a team, but I do have an older brother who was signed to the Tigers, who recently got released, but that's about it. I don't really follow a team.
No, you don't follow a team, so we'll tuck the Tigers into bed. Okay, so it's an experience as we see a steal home.
So,
I believe we're probably going to see a decision. I'm not necessarily going to challenge this one, but he's called him out at home plate. He's obviously transitioning the ball out of his glove. Softball, are you good at it?
I would like to say I'm good at it, but
Yeah.
whether other people think I am is a different story.
Yeah. Your favourite hot softball experience?
My favourite softball experience would probably be Nationals this time last year in Blacktown. In the under 18s, we made the grand final. We lost, but it was an experience that I'll never forget.
Good old Blacktown.
Yeah.
If for those that anybody who plays baseball and softball, you would end up in Blacktown. We've all spent years there. You know, it's an amazing softball facility there, and it's was the home of Olympic softball
Yep.
and obviously Olympic baseball as well. And they've always done a great job, weathered over time. But I think every person has either played there as in a state team, or will always walk away going, "I remember Blacktown quite well." And you only need to say it to any baseball and softball, and you know, yeah, we know what you're talking about. We know what the travel lodge is like. We know what the food's like here, and it was always good fun.
Yeah.
What's next for you? So you're studying to be a personal trainer.
Yep.
Is there a desire to have your own place? Is there a specialty you want to do in personal training? Because we know JK's specialty is looking after old people
Yep.
like me with bad hips and all sorts of stuff, but it's also telling tall stories. What's your forte?
Not really to get my own place, but probably working at Diamond Fitness with the older clients. And Diamond Fitness are starting a new program with autistic and disability kids, and I'm going to start working with those kinds of people. So that'll definitely be an interesting challenge, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
That's a really interesting experience because in baseball in WA we have the Challenger Series, which is the working with disabled children and handicapped children, that run by Matt and Barb Callahan up in the north, which was born out of the Challenger Series, out of the Little League World Series we've seen, where there's you have disabled children who are playing the sport with a mentor.
Yep.
And it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Now, from a gym experience, I haven't seen that around. So is that something you thought of, or as in you wanted to partake in? Was it?
Dean was talking about it, and he did bring it up in a conversation that we had, and I was like, I would love to try it. As soon as he mentioned it, I was like, I would love to try it. So
So the person that you 2 years ago
No.
wouldn't have thought of that?
No. No way.
So this sport and this atmosphere and this opportunity has certainly encouraged you to come out of what you call as your own personal shell.
Yeah.
Is it, you know, do you
Definitely.
think there's a lot of kids that are that way now? They're a bit, let's say, isolated. They need to be in more of this type of environment to grow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Is it our society that keeps us that way, or is it just they don't know about this?
Yeah, they don't know, I guess. I didn't know about it at first, and I was a really shy, delicate child, and definitely this program is it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I would recommend it to anyone who asked.
It's a great experience to see someone who a couple of minutes ago was concerned about even putting a microphone on her head and having a conversation to understanding that there's a growth that it's not just baseball, it's softball, it's the Diamond Fitness program, it's the showcase, it's giving you the opportunity to become someone else.
Yep.
But it's the real you anyway.
Yep.
Well, we're getting back. We're 7-3 in the ball game right now. Paul's decided to come back in here. Paul, his background is in social media. He's an extremely good Twitter manager, I will call it. He tweets in his social media. Do you have a platform that you just, a go-to platform? Are you Twitter, Snapchat? Is there a go-to platform for you?
Probably Instagram and Snapchat.
Why?
I'm not really sure. I'm kind of just, sounds weird, but I'm just drawn to them, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is there, to me, Instagram is, you know, the snap of Insta itself is an easy and shorter way. I can't get into Snapchat, just can't. My capacity for small talk is extremely limited because it talks too long. Is there a reason why you think, and this is probably horrible to say, is it a reason why the art of conversation with kids has dropped, face-to-face conversations, and we're working on a social media platform, it being their only way to talk? Bit deep, I know. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I do think that like face-to-face conversation has definitely dropped, considering all those other social media apps that have come out. I mean, I feel like kids my age and that are younger than me, even adults, should be talking face-to-face more than what they are.
Okay.
Than social media.
One of the big things that is going to happen to a lot of these guys out here is they're going to be faced with the challenges of social media in their sports.
Yeah.
And they're going to be faced with scrutiny of their social media. And Paul and I will know that scouts will look at their social media accounts. Are there any do's and don'ts that you know in your head that you'd like people out there to understand about social media and what's next for them?
I would probably say the way that I think about it is I go, if I had kids and I saw my kids posting that, what would I think? I mean, that's, I guess, how everyone should think.
Yep.
If you don't want your kids posting it, why should you?
Okay.
And scouts and older people are going to see and go, do you really think you should have posted that? And I feel like it might have a bit of an effect on what happens to them, even in their social, in their like sporting career and even in your job career.
Yeah, okay. You know, that's a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
One that I'm glad you said, because as a parent, I kind of wonder, would my children do this? What would I think? And obviously, in a work environment, people scrutinise. You know, you go for a job nowadays. Trust me, they're looking at they're looking at social media accounts, and guess what? They're listening to you right now. You're on YouTube. You are around the world, and you said you haven't experienced this. So, thank you very much for your time.
That's okay.
A great effort. A little bit daunting. Thank you for your efforts in the tournament so far.
That's all right.
We'll take a quick break and we'll get Paul Morgan back on, because that's the last thing you want to do is keep hearing me talk. And I think we're going to buzz down to Grady Wolf. We don't know.
I'm with Riley Ozan from the Hot Rods. Riley, you've been preparing for this for 2 weeks. It's game 2 tonight. What's it going to take to get the win?
We just need a lot of good pitching, need our pitchers to throw strikes, and just need our fielders to back up our pitching.
And last night was a draw, so how do you take that into tonight?
Yeah, yesterday our team wasn't too good, but today we're going to come out and try and get the win.
What's been your favourite part of the whole 2-week program here?
I would have to say just being around a lot of people, getting to know a lot more people.
And you're a second baseman. How long have you played that for?
Pretty much for 5 years.
Best of luck tonight. Can't wait to see how you go. Thanks so much.
Welcome back to Empire Ballpark here in the West. The Hot Rods v the Stone Crabs, 8-3. The Hot Rods lead this one, and thanks to Caitlin and Simon Ison's doing a great job there. Caitlin doing all the social media, and a bit of a almost, you know, when I started in radio many years ago, you do all these odd shifts and you do community radio and you do the odd hour shifts, and there was parts of me that just thought this could be late nights with Simon Isons with these parents. What do you need to do with social media? I thought there was.
Oh look, Keely,
sorry, I don't know why I said Caitlin. Keely.
Yeah, Keely is the interesting thing from there is that for me was incredibly difficult to talk to her about.
Yep.
Now, whether I'm comfortable or not talking on the microphone, I'm comfortable with you because it's a normal surroundings, and it's interesting to see someone grow from what she is, by her self-admission, what she was to who she is now.
Yep.
I mean, if we would walk in that room and talk to her right now, we'd have a different conversation.
Yep.
She said the more relaxed she feels, the more the conversation flows, and it's a great self-awareness, but it's also great for Dean and the Diamond Fitness group of people. She talked about the cert and the vets.
Yep.
Growth, socially, growth mentally, and growth physically. What a great package that you would. If you were a youngster and you need to do work experience or something, you need to learn about something, there's no greater opportunity to expand your horizon.
Campbell Froud will get things going for the Stone Crabs. And one of the things that I think, it's important in many ways that kids and athletes will take in Froud, and as Rowan Edmonds is on the mound for the Hot Rods, Edmonds throws and ducking is Froud. But one of the something that you kind of, and even sports, and baseball probably wants to get to this level as well in this country, is wait for Froud once more. Many times why you don't get pitch in and is high. Many times why you don't get as much media coverage as you want is because if you're a radio station, which I'll use radio because it's probably the medium I know the best currently, is if the people you want to interview don't really have any personality, you don't give them airtime. Doesn't matter how good they are or how well they are, you just don't give them airtime because it's just bad radio, and then or it's bad television, or it's an article that you can't write anything about. So it's just like, I think back to many years ago as he draws the walk for the Western Force, the rugby team, when they had Nick Cummings, the Honey Badger, who gave one of the best post-game interviews, and he obviously went on to be The Bachelor and Celebrity, I'm Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here and whatnot. But everyone would fall over themselves to get Nick Cummings onto their media platform because he was a bit wheels off, but it was, again, it was. Now you think of the Western Force, they don't get much publicity, but you just need those characters as well, just to kind of sell the sport as well.
Every sport needs it, and aren't we attracted to those who engage with us?
Yep.
There is nothing more frustrating. Now this may be, and hopefully the kids are listening to that, there's nothing more frustrating with yep, or a monotone approach to a conversation. This doesn't necessarily, this translates to more than just a media interview. This translates to a scout talking to you.
100%.
This translates to a college coach talking to you. But this translates to your own coach talking to you. You've got to understand that there has to be a level of engagement, and open ears and closed mouth often works, but you've got to actually turn it the other way around sometimes as well.
Pitches in and down, and then and then you talk about the social media world, and Keely will say like the players she gets along with better are going to probably get more coverage on, and then if they're getting more coverage on a team's social media, and the team's social media has a lot of impressions, and they've got to deal with Nike or Under Armour or whoever, and they're getting more impressions and more eyeballs and more and more and more money, and that's it's a long conversation, but it's
it's money. Well, like you said, it's a different version of Moneyball. You're going to be attracted to those that give you the responses. Not that you necessarily want to hear, but they're enough for you to build a story, because that's your job.
Yep. Taking De Villiers in to bat. De Villiers, watch that one low, but it happens in eventually over time it will happen in the athletic world as well, because it happens currently is in the world of film and television, even presenting, radio, call it what you want. It's that pitches in, and De Villiers hits that one up, and going to be meeting in the minds. It goes foul. But value of athletes will be on performance, but there'll be performance plus reach factor as well. So if they're choosing between two athletes and one's got they're similar skill level and one's got an enormous presence and enormous reach somewhere else and one doesn't. I mean, the one with the enormous reach is probably going to get the contract because the commercial value is huge of it. It draws a walk there for De Villiers. Go back to the baseball. Papiccio. Daniel.
Yeah, it's the one thing that those that decide to step up in media, you better be able to step up on the field as well, because you will be scrutinised.
100%. 100%. Papiccio will... and then, if you're a baseballer and, probably a pretty good retirement, though, Simon would be sitting in the booth breaking down, getting paid a truckload of money on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Wouldn't it be? I mean, I love listening to Ryan Rowland-Smith talk and his podcast. It's a good ball up the middle. Daniel Papiccio.
Papiccio gets the base hit, loads the bases. They got something cooking now, the Crabs. So nobody out, bases loaded for the Port Charlotte Stone Crabs. Of course, no longer an affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays. That ended this year as minor league baseball cut a few teams down, which again talks about what we were talking earlier in the broadcast, independent baseball, the American Association. Why it's such a smart idea for Baseball Australia to have that affiliation for the young talent coming through, is Nick Davis into bat for the Stone Crabs. And
the obvious thing that's going to come from that, Paul, is are we going to see a lot of very good minor league baseball players playing independent ball?
Well, you would think so, as the opportunities get less and less. And maybe now, even from an Australian perspective, as that one's hit high up and coming around. Oh, just lost the ball in the end. Xavier Fatai just lost the ball as he rounded into foul territory, got under it, and lucky he didn't wear it on the top of the scone in the end.
Well, he just comes in there and he's just trying to feel where he's going. Just behind the back of him. It was one of those plays where I think he's quite grateful he didn't wear that in the face as well, but controlling your speed as you're running towards a ball like that, running a little bit of flat-footed helps you sort of stop the eyes jumping up and down. There's a little lesson there because that ball got up there.
Absolutely. Good to have Matty Culkin out there.
Matty's back.
Yeah, Matty Culkin. He's just one's sent foul down. Matt on the YouTube chat, just having a good chat to our mate Dan Vaughan. I know DV loves it. So
there are some personalities. Matt is certainly one of those unique personalities in the sport of baseball as a commentator, and I reckon it's across all the sports that go around. Everybody knows Matty, but that's what you want. You want fans, and this is we're talking about a guy who watches the Scorchers, he watches the Wildcats, he watches the Eagles, he watches the Dockers, he watches the Force, he watches the Heat, and now he's sitting here watching the Tampa Bay Rays showcase.
Yeah, he does.
And it's not an obsession for sports; it's a passion for sports and West Australian sports, which is outstanding for him.
Absolutely, he was listening, tuned into the breakfast show from 6 a.m. this morning on Triple M as well. So he's been up. He's the everywhere man, Matty Culkin, but DV Dan Vaughan loves nothing more than.
Hey, those two, their chats together are really good. It's actually fun. The dialogue is great. Great piece
Beautiful
of hitting
hit,
there.
Yeah. Caught in left field from Jackson Stivey, but
baseball's a sad game. Look at this. Absolutely laces his ball. Oh, there's a guy there.
breeze blowing in as well, so it's not doing many favours. But back to the top of the line for Riley Hall now for the Stone Crabs.
That's one of the frustrating parts about baseball. You can absolutely nail one on the head and it could go straight down. It's the highs and lows that come with the game. In the same way you can throw a ball absolutely down the middle
Cruz Brendan comes in and just the old spent it before he bought it. Bought it before he spent it.
Yep. Just in here, it's just sort of gets himself in position. It almost like he didn't take his eyes off it, but he probably didn't round up that ball a little bit more. Again, it's a positioning thing. And this is an integral part of the development of their training. You practice this often enough, it becomes second nature, because when you go up to the next grade, plays like that are going to become integral parts of your baseball and routine, absolute routine plays.
The run come home to score as well. I think what he was just looking up as the runner was coming down third base line and just raised the eyes before the ball went into the glove, and that
and
one
there's ET
is going to land safely. Coming home to score is Davila. The Stone Crabs. There's life in the Crabs yet.
Nice piece by ET there. Yeah, I love the way he's holding himself in the batter's box at the moment. He's a young kid. He's a small man that is putting enough bat on ball to keep himself in the game. Great little infielder as well.
Absolutely. Jai Hewitt now. So bases loaded for Hewitt.
I smile at myself as a Hewitt comes up with bases loaded.
Yeah.
Again, not Jai, but any Hewitt seems to be in this situation.
So Hewitt, first pitch he sees, right down at the knees for ball strike one from Rowan Edmonds. So Edmonds, good shot of Edmonds there. Pitch again, Hewitt, which is that one. Terrific job from Boston Foot there to ensure no damage done. Pitch again, Hewitt bangs that one foul down the right field line down to the bullpen where some action happening for the Hot Rods. 1-2 count for Hewitt. One down. Bases are loaded. The Crabs trail by 3. Hewitt. One big swing of the bat and he could have the lead.
Yeah, this is a situation for Jai. Is not so much to knock the cover off the ball, because with the way that the wind is blowing, it's going to be difficult to get one over the heads of the outfielders. But what he needs to be concentrating on is a good enough of bat on ball, line drives, use his natural strength to put a ball in the gaps. You're going to see a bases clearing.
Ooh, and,
or he could just wear one in the ribs.
Hit by a pitch and wears it and scores a run for his team. So watch this, just got him on the left. I think.
The top left of the shoulder. Like just one of those things that happens in the game. Doesn't rub it.
There's Josh. Josh Kennelly there, number 53.
So, you know, Josh, there we go. The Mike Pettit's favourite coach for great stories.
Yep.
Keely's favourite person, or favourite trainer at the gym. Pretty talented, isn't he?
Yeah.
Comes from a kind of a talented family.
The best golfer, apparently, as well, of the Kennellys.
Ooh,
so he'll tell you anyway.
Yeah, that's a long bow. That's a long bow in that family. I can tell you who's not the best golfer in the Kennelly family. Sam.
Sam, yeah. Sam, of course, over for the Heat at the moment in Adelaide with his brother Tim. Matty up in Broome, keeping the streets safe as a policeman. Their workload would have trebled up in Broome now. We've got all the tourists coming in.
Yeah, well, I was up there in November and caught up with Matt and family down on the beach. It's one of those iconic moments that you're down on the Cable Beach and, you know, had a beer with Matt and his family down there and his kids, and he's enjoying the life. He's enjoying his football, but first and foremost, he can't wait to come back to play baseball. And for any West Australian and, you know, Melville Braves, I'm kind of glad I've retired in that space. The last thing I want to do is be around trying to get a ball past Matt Kennelly while he's hitting, or even be a lot of people be worried about what he does when he gets back on the mound with that Mariano-style cutter that he throws permanently.
So Branch got struck out on the big strikeout for Rowan Edmonds, and that will do him. We'll go to the pen. We'll go to a quick commercial break here as there's a pitching change. Back for more shortly. Welcome back to Empire Ballpark here in the West. Pitching change. Here's Dawson George has come on to pitch for the Hot Rods. Number 9, Dawson George. So Dawson George just going through his routine, his warm-up. You used like 9 pitches, didn't you, when you got warmed up?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, trust me, there's an art to doing this as well. Nothing annoys me more personally, though, than players watching me throw behind. Yeah. Yeah, I know our guys didn't do it. They were all gathered at the base, or when in my generation of pitching, I know it's what happens now. Yep. I just want to concentrate. But this is a time when you work on what you've got, because you want to concentrate on hitting the zones. If you come in a relief situation, one of the things I like to coach is that you have 2 pitches readily available. You have a fastball and you have an off-speed pitch, because as a hitter, he's going to come up here right now. What is naturally the first pitch that you think a young pitcher is going to do? He is going to throw a fastball to get a strike because he needs to get ahead. So you as a hitter have got to be ready. In more advanced situations, in better competitions, you better have a second and a third pitch ready to go with control, because you can't just sit there, because a great hitter will just tee off on the first fastball that they see.
George Calvary into bat.
And trust me, that is part of the conversation with these coaches. That is the one imperative that you get the pitching coaches to say, if you're going to come out of that bullpen, make sure you have 2 pitches. But then the hitting coach is also coaching this guy to say, okay, you've got to expect.
And if you're, I don't know, if you've got a slider is your wipeout pitch, I mean, would you throw that in your bullpen, or would you kind of just keep that up your sleeve because you don't necessarily want players on deck in the warm-up?
No, you throw it. They already know you. They already know about you. They know what pitches you throw. There's enough scouting reports on you. We've got sheets of scouting reports on what these guys and what they're doing in their arm strength. They already know what you do. The execution, that's the hard part. You know, if you throw a good slider, you're going to beat most hitters. So they're sitting on it. You throw a pitch, you want to get ahead of the hitters as much as you can. You're in here to stop the flow. This is a bases loaded situation. So the mental approach that you need to have is, I need to make sure I stay in this at-bat. I give the best opportunity for my team.
Let's hit out to left field. Could be trouble, but going back and making the catch, Jackson Stivey. And that will end the half inning. We'll go to the home half of the 4th. I'm going to jump booths and go and do PA for a while and get Guy Belair in to do a couple of innings. So Guy will come in shortly. I'll take a quick break and be back for more shortly.
After 3.5, lead down to 2. Hot Rods 8, Showscreens 6.
I started my career at Fitness First after having just graduated as a master trainer from the Institute. Now, I'm the owner and director of Lift Performance Centre. I work with elite athletes and sporting teams like Jared Hayne and South Sydney Rabbitohs, helping them reach their peak performance. It was a no-brainer really which institute to go to. The Australian Institute of Fitness already had the best reputation for the quality of their education. It's delivered so many successful graduates, and I wanted to make sure that I was one of them. One of the things I really enjoyed about being full-time at the Australian Institute of Fitness was the support that we received from the coaches. They were always there to help us with our questions. Whilst training there, we had access to all the important gear and, of course, terrific coaches to show us how the equipment was used and best ways to facilitate that in our own training programs. The Institute has helped my career immeasurably. It was a starting point for me, and it was a place where I learnt many of the initial lessons that I needed to learn to make it in the industry. Some of the advice I would give to people wanting to start their fitness journey is to really commit yourself to education, really commit yourself to learning the business of fitness. I often get asked where's the best starting point for people wanting to get into the industry, and I recommend them to the Australian Institute of Fitness as a really good starting point to springboard them into the industry. It all starts here.
Good evening and welcome back to Empire Ballpark. We're moving here into the bottom of the 4th inning. We now have a ball game on our hands, Simon.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit out of control there. Well, actually not out of control. It's good to actually see a game because of the 3 games we played, 2 ties and a 1-run ball game. So not necessarily a 1-run, but 1-run difference. So it's good to see the bats have come alive for a change.
Bats have come alive for a change. We've seen a few different things. Obviously, both games today, it looked like we might have blowouts at one point in time, and then all of a sudden they've been reeled back in. And good to at least see that there's competitiveness on both sides and not just running away with something either.
Yeah, I was talking to a few parents, and I said, was the last night, and as a spectator, you probably would find it a bit challenging, but I guess what we've got to understand, and this is part of the learning of these young guys, is the intensity that they've done for the last week and a half of the training, mental and physical, can have a negative effect in the game. It can actually wear you down, and sort of mentally you lose concentration when you're pitching a little bit here, and maybe you're not staying in on the at-bat somewhere. This is what a lot of the coaches are looking at to see, can we help you get through the hump of being tired, being anxious, and all sorts of bits and pieces, because it's hard. You know, I admire those players that can switch on at training and then switch on in a game and show this attention, but probably when they leave the ballpark, they fall down in a screaming heap line and rock in a wheelchair type scenario.
Do have a pitching change now on the mound. Tom Hebick throwing to Michael DeGasperis, 2-1 count. One of the things that, obviously this is the under-16s age division. We've come to expect a lot of things yourself as a pitcher, but we've really seen some of these younger kids struggle with control, struggle with different things. So what are the things that they're working on in terms of progressing within the high development program?
There's a couple of things you have to look at, and we see a shot there of mechanics. Mechanics are going to be the default position for the ability to throw a ball and basically to throw a strike. And the thing for me, though, is a commitment to every pitch. It's not just roll your arm over and hopefully it gets there. When you're having your bullpens, you're pitching with intent, right? And you see hitters, when and you're a coach, you've seen hitters, when they stand, they have dry swings. So as a pitcher, when you're warming up, even just playing catch with someone, why don't you concentrate on hitting them on the chest every time? Why don't you, this is your dry swing when you're throwing, is throw with intent. See, good piece of hitting there.
Jack Angel able to rope that one into right field in front of the right fielder.
See, that's a good, the runner was going, hits behind him as he takes off. Look at him, looks over his right shoulder, see where he is, keeps going. Good piece of hitting by Angel.
Angel's been a very good hitter, and obviously we see there the second baseman crashing, so he had a big hole in that right-hand side. Just hit it where they aren't.
Well, yeah, one of the horrible plays as a pitcher, you feel, hey, he's hit the ball right where the second baseman should have been.
Should have been. I can't tell you the number of times I've had that this season. I know that one happens. Brendan Cruz stepping up to the plate. Actually, sorry, Cruz Brendan.
It's interesting. We were commenting before that the worst ones are as a hitter when you absolutely tattoo and hit this ball great, and there's a guy in the outfield that just catches it. It's like.
There's been a few of those, and you know, a couple of times too. The balls that are camped under and you expect to be caught aren't, and then these laser shots are. Hey, look what I found in my glove.
Hey, it's a funny game of baseball. So we're seeing a lot of running going on to the game. We're taking that 8-6 lead and thinking, oh, I'd like to stretch that out a little bit more.
Certainly,
Hot Rods have got some legs.
Kurt Russell, the Hot Rods have a little bit of speed. They're showing it off here this half inning.
That's unusual for Kurt Russell to do a lot of stealing. There's a tad bit of sarcasm in there for Guy and I. Getting back to that pitching scenario that we were talking before, the mechanics are, the foundations of the mechanics are designed to throw a strike.
Brennan able to put that one into center field in front of Hall, able to throw in quickly, but the runner will score. Runners now first and third. Hot Rod's able to push that lead back out up to 3 runs.
Good piece of hitting there up the middle. Easy gap. This is what we like to see. We want to see this type of baseball. You want to see action, positive actions going around. Guys hitting the ball, guys running the bases, pitchers throwing strikes.
You know, one of the interesting things, and I looked at it a little bit here, especially for both teams, both teams have hitters at the bottom of the lineups. I mean, I know this is a product of you know, when you put your state teams together, you do some different things here. But, you know, some of these guys are kids that, you know, we have Jackson Stivey here in the middle of the lineup, Tyler Houston, Boston Foot, you know, these guys that are used to playing 3-4 hitter on some of their club teams, and now all of a sudden they're finding themselves as a 7-8 hitter, but they're delivering here at the bottom of the lineup.
I mean, sometimes you would say you can put a good hitter anywhere in a lineup and he produces. When they design a lineup and when coaches design the hitting lineup, there is a specific reason. Usually, you know, your leadoff hitter is contact, can hang in and at bat and basically draw as many pitches as possible, and generally has good speed. Again, as we go down to the lineup, are you saying 7, 8, and 9 are your worst hitters? Well, guess what? When you come to state competition,
7, 8,
9 can be just as dangerous. So as a pitcher, you've got to be aware of this situation. And this is an opportunity to do something you don't normally see in club ball, where there are holes, so to speak, in lineups. So kids who are just out there having a little bit of fun. You get to a state competition, the 7, 8, 9 are potential killers in a lineup. And we saw it out in the under-18s with TK lacing a ball to right field to score advanced runs, and he was batting down the lineup. He wasn't having a great tournament with the bat, but he knows stepped up where it counted.
Stivey able to put that one through that 5.5 hole. Infield playing in, trying to prevent any more damage, but Stivey able to plate 2 runs with that base hit.
Great example now. You take is that great coaching that we know Kurt is going to steal runners, and he's had a runner at second through the hole. Good jump, knows what he's doing. You can see Kurt at the bottom of the screen winding him all the way through. It's like, yep, tick that playbook.
And just like that, the 3 runs that the Stone Crabs grabbed in that top half of the inning are washed away.
And we still got a game because we're seeing the ball, seeing the strikes, we're seeing the bats.
You know, and this is the big part, and you know, especially for the pitchers here. Now all of a sudden they have to learn how to attack, how to come back. You've given up some runs, but you still have to throw strikes. You have to do something.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's sometimes it's not as easy as you think, because the mental process here is, well, hang on, if I'm throwing a strike all the time and they're hitting it and I'm not feeling it, but you're going to have to learn at some point that to position it better, throw a different type of pitch. The catcher has to start to take a bit of control, let him relax.
Great shot there of Xavier Fatai peering in for the signs there from Coach Kurt Russell. Jackson Stivey takes his lead off from second. That one just inside. So what is something that, you know, you've been a part of the state team coaches out here. What is, if you were going to come out here and talk to Tom here in this situation, what would you be looking for? What are you maybe going to tell him to kind of get him refocused?
Half the time is about, if I'm going out to see a guy like this, it's because he's looking flustered, his demeanour looks so. So you're going out to say, okay, time to take a step back, time to breathe. You're looking him dead in the eyes. You talk to them dead in the eyes. It's not a head pivot conversation when you're saying, pointing in different directions. If you focus on the pitcher, get him to calm down, get him to breathe and say, okay, you're putting the ball in play. You're doing the good job. Now you start to be a little bit more finer about some of these pitches and they're going to work your way. Sometimes this happens. You know, you've got to expect you're going to let them hit the ball. You cannot strike every hitter out. He hasn't got the arm to do that. So let's see what you can do with the different situations and different counts. And because the catcher's already with you. Catcher, you've got to keep him engaged. Say he's doing a good job. It's as simple things like that. You know, stay ahead as much as you can. Get ahead, stay ahead.
Obviously, he's just come into the game, and you know, as I'm watching him, his demeanor has changed here a little bit, but he's trying to find that. He's gotten a couple of strikes here, and then all of a sudden, you start to see that confidence build back a little bit. But at what point, obviously, you've given up those 3 runs that you just scratched, clawed, tried to get across, and you made yourself back a ball game. You kind of want to keep it a ball game.
Yeah. I mean, your teammates have got to be in there and helping you out as much as you can. That's 3 straight there. Good, simple play. That looks like he stepped on his foot there.
Stepped on his foot. That wasn't a forced play either, so I'm a little bit confused as to why he was called out.
Yeah, let's not get confused.
Not for me to make that decision, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's just leave that one alone for a little time. You can see he stepped on his foot, and that would hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll just leave it there. Anyway.
I mean, it was a great play. I mean, obviously, infield's drawn in. They're going after that runner, but kind of have to tag the guy.
Yeah. Anyway.
Moving on. Stepping up to the plate now, designated hitter Tyler Houston. Houston will put that one into play. Over to Branch. Branch fires to second. Foot does a good job of breaking that one up. I mean, he went in, slid hard. I mean, by the rules, everything there. He didn't overside the bag, didn't slide wide or anything. Great close-up shot of it, and just able to take out the middle infielder, not able to complete the double play.
So as a coach, and you're a coach, so what do you say? What do you say to the second baseman there about how he took that ball?
As a coach, I don't like it at all how he took that ball. He should be coming across that infield to the ball, and then turning to fire right away.
Yep.
There he was falling away from it, allows the slide to take him out and not make a play, versus being aggressive and going after something. That one will not get out of the infield, just barely onto the grass. Branch able to make that play. That will end the half inning. But the Hot Rods are able to scratch 4 runs across after the Stone Crabs plated 3 in the top half. So after 4 complete, Hot Rods 12, Stone Crabs 6. Welcome back to Empire Ballpark. We are through 4 innings. My name is Guy Belair. I'm here with Simon Isons. We thought we had a ball game back on our hands in the top half of the inning, and now we find ourselves back to a 6-run deficit. But you know, we've seen the Stone Crabs or the Hot Rods here score in every inning, so they're kind of finding their groove a little bit in terms of getting the ball, hitting it, taking advantage of the base runners that get on base. They're moving them over through steals, through advancing from pass balls, and really forcing the action.
Yeah, and it's a good thing because we need a little bit of action out in the ballpark at times. Good for the spectators, good for the guys to be put into situations that are, we see what we saw at the last innings, Kurt, was an applied pressure by the coach to take advantage of the pitcher who had a long leg kick. Okay, it was Wade. It took his time. He had quick runners. He knew what he had to do, and he put his team in a good situation. Now, what we hope, again, and I've referenced this before, the kids go back and watch this. Watch themselves pitching, but don't just watch themselves pitching. Look at the situation. What could I have done? The one thing I would like is if there was, they had the ability, and I know they have the ability, but they have it in themselves to talk to the coach about what did you see? Because how many times I lost count as a young person where I wish I had asked my coach more direct questions about me as a pitcher. How could I have got better instead of just being sitting in the corner and listening to what was said all the time and not trying to analyse it as much. And it was only until I got a bit older when I started, and I had an exceptionally good pitching coach in Tony Stall when I was in under-18s, and then Steve Kirkin when I was with the Heat, who made me have input into the conversation about the game. What did you think? What were you thinking? And a lot of the times I wasn't thinking because I'm a pitcher. My job's to nod or shake. Pitchers, we get told what to do, remember? They give us the signals, you nod and you shake. That's your job.
Nod and shake, and until you learn you can shake them off because you don't want to throw that one.
Yeah, but listening last night with Mark Pettit talking about Daniel Schmidt, it's a two-way learning streak with these guys. And I've sat back and listened to that and watched them, and it's fantastic as a person to see two great baseball minds learning the game together in different ways. Mark learning about a different type of left-handed pitcher and how to change him, but harnessing the generalisation of baseball, and then Schmitty going, well, I'm going to learn from another man. I want these kids to do the same thing with their coaches because there's enough talent out on that field.
Certainly enough talent, but that you raise a good point there. I mean, I heard you last half inning talk about mechanics, and we're looking here at the a great effort of video from those things. So we have seen so many different styles of throwing, both from right-handers, left-handers. From a coach, you sit there and how do you put them in the best position to succeed, especially when everything is so different? I mean, I like in the sense that we're not looking at everything robotic there. Dawson able to get the hitter down on strike swinging right there. We'll turn it over, but how do you how do you evolve with that one? Because each one of these, obviously each kid is different here. Their learning styles, their everything that they've got in their bodies, but some of these throwing styles are all different too.
Yeah, standard teaching or coaching or training of some description is to recognise that everybody learns differently. You see a great piece of hitting there. First pitch, just laces that ball up the middle.
Jacob Davila.
Yeah, great little kid. That's what he's trying to do with the bat. At least he's controlling. Looks quite happy over there. Everybody learns differently. It's the coach's ability to understand those learnings, and we heard about Mark Pettit talking last night is recognising that some players can be challenged mentally, some can be pushed to their capacity and they thrive in it, and others just need to observe a little bit longer. And you as a coach have got to recognise that every kid is different. But that's not just a mental thing, that is a physical thing. So some people need to have a big long leg kick, some people don't. And then you've got to let that long leg kick person know, well, guess what? Don't do that with runners on. We need to teach you how to do something else. But give them an understanding as to why that we're doing this.
Papiccio able to foul that one off, chasing that high heat a little bit. Little comebacker back to Dawson George. Fires over to first for the out. Papiccio moves the runner over into scoring position.
The number one golden rule: you let go of that ball, you're a fielder. Become an athlete.
I actually thought he gloved that one, but looking at that replay, he barehanded that one and managed to, complete that 270 spin in order to fire it.
270 spin with an ollie.
This is something we hadn't seen from the Stone Crabs here, but I don't know if the coaches told them to be more aggressive, but they're going after first pitch strikes now. We've seen 3 of the 4 hitters come after it, and they're 3 of the guys that are on base.
So what's the golden rule for a pitcher? Get ahead, stay ahead. So as a hitter, you've got to know the same principles. If this guy has the ability to keep pounding the zone, then not only do you, and almost to change your approach, as a hitter, you're going to say, I'm not necessarily going to go after the first pitch I see all the time, but there's a good chance that that pitch is going to be in the strike zone for you. So make sure your swings are hard, aggressive, and controlled in the same motion.
Nicholas Davis with that single there. Runners first and third here for Riley Hall. Turn things over back to the top of the lineup. And then this is the other thing, pitchers come into the game here. I know he came in last inning, but now he's having to adjust with runners on, adjust to different parts of the lineup. How's he? How does he approach these next three hitters?
Well, the next three hitters, he's throwing strikes, which is the number one thing that we want. Now it's also he needs to know location, because just throwing strikes is not going to always get the job done. Sometimes throwing a ball is going to work.
Hall's able to hit that one a mile into the sky. And Egan, I think, was able to track that one down. I don't know if it might have had a defensive substitution there.
Starts there, ends all the way over here. This shows you how.
And ends up over in that 3.5 hole. So
shows you the wind's blowing an absolute howler.
It's not something that we're used to seeing, but the winds have been increased here. We are under wind advisories, and normally they're blowing out of the ballpark, and I'm looking at the flags, and they're blowing straight in.
And
good little look there just to the left center area.
Yeah, the left center there, they're blowing in. The easterly comes in, and there's nothing more enjoyable than having an easterly when you're pitching. The middle half of the plate looks a lot more appealing. Throw the ball. And yeah, this is relative. This is something that you don't necessarily think about when you're pitching until you get a little bit more advanced in your playing career. That if you've got a wind like that, the ball that you are taught not to throw, that pitch down the middle, where a hitter's just going to pull it, and you know that the goal is to hit for your home run,
sometimes
is not going to
your best friend,
absolute best friend, and you've got to understand your surroundings. So it's not robotic. There's an intent behind what you have to do. What I want to see here right now is probably a lot more. If we go back to where you said, what would you be thinking about? It's probably throwing a little bit more inside, because there's certainly the left fielders are playing a little bit shallower, getting it up in the zone, because you've got to figure out it doesn't have to pound the bottom of the zone the whole time. Get it up, let them pop fly out of there.
Well, and that's where, two of the pitching coaches we talked about, obviously Connor Lowry's over here, Arnie Knowles here this evening, and I know we had the games last night, and they were both a little bit dumbfounded on what answers to have out there, but obviously they've had an approach to some of these kids here today, and that is one thing. We've talked about it. Some of them don't necessarily have that control. So what are we doing to, as you said, we want to be able to force things inside. We want to be able to throw it outside. I know Arnie wants to teach. You got to be able to throw any pitch, any location. So how do we kind of reinforce that one?
We keep practicing it. We change the situations. It's great to say. And I said, I've seen so many people, so many great pitchers can throw great bullpens, and then they walk out on the mound and there's a hitter in there. It's like, oh, what do I do? Put yourselves in situations, play more games, get the opportunity. When you're at club ball, get around a guy and make sure when you're having your bullpen that he's standing in, so it's familiar. It teaches you to narrow your focus down in the bullpen. It's like one of the concentration pieces. You've got to concentrate on the glove. Concentrate on the glove, concentrate on the glove. Now, all of a sudden you put an object, not necessarily behind the glove, but next to it, and your eyes dart in and out of this focus. Practice it. Practice someone else being there. How you sell that dream to a hitter is like, hey, just watch these pitches for me. Tell me what I'm doing. Tell me if you would swing. Give me feedback. They also get to see more pitches. They don't necessarily have to swing, but they get an understanding. So it's a mutual agreement.
Taj Egan puts that one high up. Doesn't get off the infield. I think we had Jai Hewitt move over from third to first, camped under that one.
That ball literally started at second base, and now look, it's just dropped on Jai's head.
Hey, we just saw Taj was the one who made that catch there in the last half inning, and he's the one that hits that same ball. And yeah, it's now it's becoming fun, and you got to keep your eyes on it everywhere.
De Gasper's up to bat now. He's had a pretty good night, making some solid contact throughout the game.
Been more of a threat on the base path as he's been able to swipe a couple of bases, come around and score 2 or 3 of those 12 runs.
And there's that familiar strike call.
Yeah, I believe I heard that you wanted to equate him to me. De Gasperis gets a hold of that one, but obviously with those defensive changes, I'm not sure who that one is. I think that was Aiden Branch has moved over from short to third. I think Branch able to fire that one over to Jai Hewitt.
Yep.
Trying to make sure we get some of these changes correct. Now he brings, we talked about each one having a little bit different delivery, a little bit different mechanics. What's kind of your evaluation of Tom here?
Evaluation, or probably more assessment of what needs to happen. He's got no leg kick. And it's not to say no leg kick, but it's small. It's not in a power position, because he's a fairly tall guy by the looks of it. It's just a forward motion, and then there's got to be that urgency to call, and I call it a commitment to the pitch. To me, at the moment, he looks like he's just throwing the ball over the zone rather than using the body mechanics that we've taught. So it's just a lift up and a fall forward. Hey, he's still throwing strikes. Nothing wrong with that, and in situations that's going to be advantageous, because there's a ground ball. A routine ground ball under normal situations would get an out. Now, he seems to be holding himself mentally out there as well, because he's throwing strikes. It's not necessarily working in his favour, but he's still back in there throwing, and that's a good way to go about your game.
That ball hit over to Branch, not able to field that one, so Angel reaches base. Comes a base runner here as Cruz Brendan comes to the plate. Defensive changes for the Stone Crabs. Obviously, Aiden Branch has moved over to third. Campbell Froud is now at shortstop. Jai Hewitt moved over to first. Just trying to look who the new second baseman is. We see Tom taking his windup.
I was right, 188 centimetres for Tom Haybeck here. So he's a tall kid who probably is not using all of his body in the action of pitching.
Well, and part of that one too is we've seen that confidence come back as he's thrown some strikes. He kind of lost it, and not only lost that confidence, but you know the landing foot wasn't, the stride out wasn't the same, the landing foot wasn't the same, the arm action wasn't the same. That ball hit out to Papicchio. He'll catch that one, and that will be the end of the inning. So the Stone Crabs leave one runner stranded, but after 5.5, 12-6 in favor of the Hot Rods. We'll be back after this short break. Welcome back to the ballpark. Few defensive changes, it does look like, as far as the Stone Crabs go. It looks like center field will now be manned by
Tyler Houston. No?
Yeah, that's probably about right.
No,
I
he's
thought it
in left
was
field.
60.
Yeah, and it's 60. You're right. Yeah. Tane Batcham
Tane Batcham has come in.
into left field.
So Stivey's out of the game. Batcham is in. DeGasperis is still in center field, it looks like. Right field still looks to be Macklin Berry. But we will have a new hitter coming up to the plate. Looks like Sam Gooch is going to be entering the game.
Otherwise known as the Gooch. Young kid from Wanneroo playing SL2 at the moment. It's just a great baseball name, Gooch.
Yeah, well, hopefully that one can be one of those new names that continues in the years to come. I mean, obviously WA out here has a few proud baseball names. Obviously Hewitts, I know the Moyles are around.
Kennelly's, heard of them before.
Yeah, there's a few of them.
Yeah. One baseball name that's actually stood out for me recently, I mean, maybe slightly off topic, but we're out here talking about is Sylvie. The other day, from the Gosnells Baseball Club.
Adam and Callum, both former South Perth ones, moved over to Gosnells.
One of the things, and Josh, one of the things I saw the other day was finally the three brothers get to play in the same game. That's just fun for a family to experience, and you know, to play with your family, but to play with your mates in this environment. Because a lot of these guys, and we were listening to BJ before, where him and BJ and Maddox grew up together, and it's always great to play in the same team. But these have had friends since they were 7 years old, and a lot of these guys have played baseball or t-ball since they were very, very young, a lot together. But to have a collective family play together in the one team, and we've seen it with the Kennellys at the elitist of levels, but even at a club level, is a great thing to see, and very proud to see them all together.
Number 66, John.
Gooch came in for Aita Semakawa.
E.T.
Had a pretty good game there. Had a nice hit that last at bat.
E.T., you know, part of the Wembley Magpies, and I believe is coached by Jared Prosper, I think, from Wanneroo. Gooch wears one in the leg and gets to second.
Unfortunately, Jack Angel not able to find that one. I think it actually, I don't know if it went off his ankle or if it went off the bag. See if I can get a
very quick pickoff. Not quite online.
And that's one of those things, again, as young kids, we like to see them, and the fact that he's willing to throw over is a great thing. But obviously we need to learn to locate that on that spin move a little bit more.
Yeah, look, it's an art. It's a skill you have to teach, and it's one of those things that can come very, very natural for some people, and one of them that becomes an absolute fear for some young ball players. So the key to a pickoff is to keep trying, find out what your opportunity is and when you need to do it. And the other part of it is to be consistent about when you're throwing. So don't put yourself under an immense pressure when you're picking off. Don't think, I have to get you out.
Unfortunately for Jai Hewitt, we've seen him struggling a little bit. We're seeing Gooch able to advance to third as the ball in the dirt on Jai's swing. You know, Jai, I think they've, you know, he had quite a few great hits yesterday. Started off the game really well, and I think they're really attacking him on that outside corner. I think his last at bat, we saw him with that really odd Old English off of it, and the pitcher couldn't field it. And then there they stayed to the outside, and he didn't like a couple of those calls.
Yeah, look, that's what's going to happen as tournaments go on. You're going to see coaches and people respect the power that you bring to the game, and you're not exactly going to see your favourite pitch every time. So you as a hitter have to make the adjustments. But what I wanted to say from that point of view is, like, the ball was in the dirt. It was a curveball in the dirt. You know, obviously you're going to get up and throw to first. But what they didn't do, which Gooch did an amazing job, and again, great base running, obviously got natural speed as well, recognise the ball in the dirt you're already leading off, takes an extra special lead to go forward. As soon as he's seen that ball thrown, he's already halfway down the line. He takes an extra base. There are two things that you want to do. You want to gain 90 feet as a base runner on every opportunity. And as what was drilled into the 18s last year by Andy Kyle and particularly Lee Moyle and Adam Korcher from the 18s perspective is don't give up, stop the 90, stop them advancing that one step at a time. The more you stop a player advancing 90 feet, the better you are going to be a baseball team. Protect 90 as it's called.
We'll speak more about Protect 90 here in the next few minutes, but we do have a pitching change for their hot rods. Going to the mound, number 33, right-hander Riley Ozan. Riley out of Swan Districts Baseball Club. Had the pleasure of coaching a few of these kids last year.
I apologise. There's a bit of a wind blowing in the background. You can see the curtain rods are banging up here. It's definitely blowing a gale at the ballpark at the moment.
It's certainly blowing a gale right in here into the press box. So better hope we don't have any foul balls hit up this way because they'll quickly fast track to you.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'll get the window open right in front of me.
Ozan comes set, waiting for his first pitch. Over the top delivery, a little bit of a delayed action after that leg kick.
But again, look, this hit, what do? You come in throwing a first pitch fastball. Instinctively, these guys are going to swing at what they see. Because I know Dan Calverley's going to be sitting here going, sit on that fastball. Come into the game with the opportunity to throw a different pitch if you've got one.
Aiden Branch at the plate right now. Takes a little bit off that one, misses a little bit. And is that a factor of, as you're trying to develop some of these different pitches, you don't quite necessarily have that feel for it?
Oh, I don't think I had a feel for a changeup until I was about 35. It's just something, there's the one, it's not about me, but the one regret I had as a junior growing up, I wish I had concentrated on every facet of pitching. I wish I had the input that these kids have right now to focus on the effectiveness of a changeup and how it offsets a fastball and all sorts of bits and pieces, instead of just necessarily trying to throw the ball as hard as I could, which I couldn't, but I managed to throw strikes. When we talk to these kids right now, it's not about, they want to learn how to do these filthy hooks and curveballs and two-seater sliders and all sorts of things. We want them to establish around the zone first, and then we can develop the pitches that go with it by just changing the grips. And then it's just changing their mental process. We see here, pitching mechanics very over the top. Again, it's a release point thing for him. It's interesting how whenever you see one of these young boys throw a pitch that's wild, they look down at the landing spot or something there.
A little shake of the arm,
Yeah, it's one of those things that
all three things didn't work in unison, and yeah, that's why. Stone Crabs deciding that taking a little bit of a lesson there from their counterparts in the bottom half of last inning, trying to force some of that action with moving runners over. As you said, get them protecting that 90. It's a big difference. All of a sudden that 90 feet puts two runners in scoring position. A base hit, you're able to start, you're not going to get it in one swing right now, but you got to start clawing your way back into it.
The protect 90 comes from the pitcher there. It's like, okay, I've got to recognise I've got to hold this guy. I'll have to pick off. If I have to pick off 3 times, guess what? I'm going to pick off 3 times. And this is something that they don't necessarily do in club ball because it's not ingrained in them, and that's why they're at these camps. The one thing I did say last night is these kids are going to come back from this camp to their clubs better baseball players. Sometimes I've seen kids turn up to showcases or similar things like this. They've never really done an infield and outfield before because it's not something they have time with the part-time coaches they've got it there or their dads that are coaching. it's not part of the routine. It's throw the ball, hit the ball, run around and do what you have to do. This is more regimented, but guess what? This is the future, guys. It's only going to get amplified the better you get and the more you do this.
Ozan starting to get a little bit wild there. Again, he did come in throwing first pitch strikes, but now getting a little bit up and a little bit out. Cavalry not offering at anything. He'll take the base on balls, which will load the bases. Boston Foot out to talk to his former teammate. Bases loaded and Campbell Ford up to the bat. Our colleague Paul Morgan decided to leave the music on, so I have to return the favor.
It sounded like a bit of a circus theme there as well.
Oh, Riley's hoping to find the zone. He doesn't want to let the circus run wild here in this half of the inning. That ball laced back up the middle. One run will score. Second one will be held. Runners move over 90 feet. Station to station baseball here by the Stone Crabs. Again, as we say, you're not going to get it in that one swing, but they're, 6 is down to 5, bases loaded, only the 1 out. Still a threat here this inning.
I mean, all it takes is a ball over the first baseman's head or the third baseman's head, and you're going to score 2 runs as well. Now, as a pitcher, you've got to recognize what you're doing. I personally, if I'm sitting here, I'd prefer to be up in the zone. For a fly ball, but that's just possibly overthinking the scenario. But these are the things that I'd like to, you talk to these kids. If you were to watch this video, if I'd have thrown it up in the air and it's a fly ball.
Well, we think baseball, and you're thinking big things defensively here. The Stone Crabs, obviously, you're wanting to get that next out. But to me, one of the things is if you don't want to let them into the game, you want to take away doubles. Not really playing the lines right now as far as infielders go. Outfielders pretty much still playing straightaway positioning. So it's a little bit curious here with bases loaded. You're protecting a 5-run lead, but you don't want to let them get into this game to think they have that chance.
Yep. Run scores.
Base on balls will bring in another one, and this comes back to the big factor. He came out throwing strikes, but has lost his composure a little bit. And just when I was going to say, at what point do you kind of go out and talk to your pitcher here?
This is an art in its own. This conversation alone is an art, and it's not one. And that's a key ingredient. The players are being involved in there, and Baby Shark.
Well, he does have that baby face going on.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm trying to make
you're
things.
talking about
Trying to make things fit here within the situation. I think Paul listened to me. I just said I hit next on Spotify, and whatever comes up. So, but you're right. JK just came out. Obviously, a little bit of what was said, but you're looking for that strike to immediately be thrown coming out of that conversation, and a little bit wild with a curveball. Not even really kind of going to his best pitch. That one, I would have liked to have seen that pitch before.
But I don't mind that he's going with. I don't mind that he goes with a curveball. What I want to see is an adjustment afterwards, which he just did. Now that shows to me, okay, I know I can do it when I think, okay, well, I've just left a curveball up. I need to get out in front of the pitch. I need to pull it down and get in front. What I want to see is the adjustment and then a replication after that.
Daniel Papiccio waiting the pitch from Ozan, 2-1. He'll duck down. That one comes up and in, 3-1 count. And this is one of those big things. Step off that moment, gather yourself, because at this point you need to throw a strike. Maybe I should be out there talking.
The savant himself, Guy Belair.
3-2 count for Papiccio. Bases loaded, down by 4. Swing of the bat. can bring the Stone Crabs back into this game.
Ow.
He'll wear that one off of his ankle.
Yeah, yes, we know it hurts.
Certainly doesn't feel good, but doesn't bode well as an outfielder needing to chase down balls in the bottom half of the inning as well.
I'm happy to say, never experienced it. 1, because I can't bat. 2, because I can't swing.
So you were always DH'd for, is what you're saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, look, enjoyed it at a junior age, but know your limitations, let's put it that way.
I have to laugh a little bit. I saw Jacob Davila take off. None of the other runners took off on the full count pitch. He's about a step away from second base and wondering, guys, why didn't you go?
This is good. This is good. Just relax. I like seeing that. I like seeing that more and more. The composure. The time for a teammate to settle a situation, understand that he needs to breathe. We need to be, we're talking 12, 9 bases loaded and 1 out. Settle back in there.
Nicholas Davis, bottom of the lineup. He'll be aggressive, swinging that first pitch, pops it up behind home plate.
What are you, as a coach of juniors, what are you saying to junior hitters right now in this situation? Patient or?
I think you have to know the situation. I think before, when they were trying to claw their way back into it, being aggressive, going after those first pitches was great. There, I would like to see the patience. I want to find that pitch that you like. Again, we're moving station to station. We're getting towards that back end of the ball game where we don't have a lot of time. So it's coming to that point where now we probably have to press on those things because obviously in here in the 6th inning right now, we've scratched those 4 runs across. We still have the bases loaded. We still have 1 out. Now I'm starting to, in being that we've now turned it over to the top of the lineup, this is the meat of that. These are the hitters that ideally we want up in these kinds of situations. And in these ones, I'm expecting to get after it.
I would suffice to say that this is possibly his last hitter.
I'm watching the next guy walk in from the bullpen.
No, that'd be Connor Lowry. I don't want to see him walk in.
I'm pretty sure Kurt Russell would like to see Connor Lowry walk in. But I think just looking at what they have left, obviously whoever's in the field as well as Tane Batcham. Tane normally a catcher. And then, I guess that's one of those things too that obviously you played a tie game yesterday. You're looking to gain that win today, but you kind of have to go after it here a little bit. You can't just let it go, and it's slipping away from him a little bit at the moment. That one will pull things within 1 run. Boston Foot has gone out to the mound, and here comes Kurt with the pitching change. We'll step away for just a minute as we grab this. Appreciate Diamond Fitness for bringing us these games. Well, welcome back to Empire Ballpark. We're in the middle of the pitching change. The new pitcher for the Hot Rods will be none other than number 62, Tyler Houston. Houston, a former Willetton player, moved over to Swan Districts this season. I had the pleasure of coaching his brother and him for a short period of time. No, he's a Darling Range student athlete as well. So he's had the ability to learn from Ken McGee, Andy, Kyle. You name however many others are around.
I've been involved in it, but let's put this into perspective. You go to a school to study as a student athlete, and your baseball coaches, because we know they play several sports there, is the very first Perth Heat coach around, Ken McGee, a gifted coach, mentor, and athlete for many years, and the current Perth Heat coach, and again, legend of the game of baseball and the family, Andy Kyle. You're going to get some great baseball tutelage on your journey. Now, this is, it's like going to colleges. That's akin to a college, isn't it?
Very close. I mean, obviously, there's only a few baseball programs. I know Andy's moved over from South Fremantle over to Darling Range. A few of them have kicked out, and you know, they go through the different programs, through the different actions, but the one thing is they've always kind of encouraged the kids, encouraged them to partake in these showcases that you know, the Rays have put on. They encourage you to do the WA school sport. They encourage you, you know, to obviously play state league and push yourself. So we'll have a pitch hitter. Sam Gooch entered the game already, so he's come through, but I think, if memory serves me correct, the Stone Crabs have batted around now. I think Sam Gooch got things started off here.
Let off the Gooch as he came in. Started the momentum as it is.
And he will line that one through the 5.5 hole into left field again, station to station, and we have a tie ball game. Sam Gooch scoring the first run of these 6 runs and now knocking in the tying run here.
The downside for Gooch is, yeah, and there's a good smile on Dan Cowley's head. It's like, yeah, we can come back into this game. We need a game. 17 hits, 12-all ball game.
But the telling sign on that one, and you know, again, it's young ball players, but that last category there, not one that you like to see often, and generally when you see as high numbers as are on there, the 6 and the 4, probably have a few more runs than 12-12.
Yeah. The one thing we want these guys to look back at this program, look back at this show and learn and take some positives from this, because I know the coaches are going to be doing this.
Houston gets the ground ball that he wanted. Froud didn't pick it up cleanly, had a chance for a double play, but stuck with it, got the out. That's the all-important part. Obviously, a run does score, and the Stone Crabs now have the lead that they haven't had since the first inning.
You can make one error, but don't make two, and he made good recovery.
Tyler Houston coming in, throwing strikes. You know, now this comes back to question. Kurt didn't argue a couple of those plays. I think he had a runner score that the home plate umpire had called out, and obviously the force out that wasn't a force out.
It's just something.
I mean, if you're looking for wins, you're doing some things. You know, some things should be said that maybe weren't. But obviously, I don't want to show up our umpires or anything from those ones. But we talk about the little things playing epic moments in the games. That's a big moment right now.
It is. It's an awareness of, unfortunately, what's going on around you. But what we've seen, 2 great strikes, a good curveball with an 0-2, and a good enticing pitch. So the last 4 pitches that Tyler has thrown here, 2 good solid fastballs, a curveball in the dirt to entice, and then just one creeping it up a little bit more. I guess having the next thing you'd like to see him pound that zone. There it is again. That's a great hitter, great approach to get him out of a precarious situation.
Tyler Houston able to come in and limit the damage. He does give up 2 runs. The Stone Crabs take the lead after 5.5. Stone Crabs 13, Hot Rods 12.
13-12.
started my career at Fitness First after having just graduated as a master trainer from the Institute. Now, I'm the owner and director of Lift Performance Centre. I work with elite athletes and sporting teams like Jared Hayne and South Sydney Rabbitohs, helping them reach their peak performance. It was a no-brainer really which institute to go to. The Australian Institute of Fitness already had the best reputation for the quality of their education. It's delivered so many successful graduates, and I wanted to make sure that I was one of them. One of the things I really enjoyed about being full-time at the Australian Institute of Fitness was the support that we received from the coaches. They were always there to help us with our questions. Whilst training there, we had access to all the important gear and, of course, terrific coaches to show us how the equipment was used and best ways to facilitate that in our own training programs. The Institute has helped my career immeasurably. It was a starting point for me, and it was a place where I learnt many of the initial lessons that I needed to learn to make it in the industry. Some of the advice I would give to people wanting to start their fitness journey is to really commit yourself to education, really commit yourself to learning the business of fitness. I often get asked where's the best starting point for people wanting to get into the industry, and I recommend them to the Australian Institute of Fitness as a really good starting point to springboard them into the industry. It all starts here.
Welcome back to Empire Ballpark. We've had a change of events. The Charlotte Stone Crabs have added 7 runs in the top of the 6th inning. They have managed to claw their way back into the game and have taken the lead against the Hot Rods. Hot Rods coming up, leading off. Michael DeGasper. No, that's Tane Batcham. Tane Batcham, I think on the scorecard we had him as number 6, is now wearing 60. Either coach forgot to write a 0 earlier, or I've been looking for a 60 on my lineup, haven't had it. I'm pretty sure I saw his face. I'm pretty sure that is Tane.
And new pitcher Carlos Salas.
Carlos Salas now on the mound.
Great pitch.
Salas with a curveball gets Batcham out in front of it. Down in the dirt, foul tip. Able to just fight it off. I thought I'd heard it, but I thought I also saw the catcher go to make the tag, and
yeah, I don't think the catcher heard the tag.
Wasn't sure that the umpire called it right away.
That's a better pitch.
That one's just as nasty and will ultimately have the same effect of the strikeout with 2-3 throwdown.
This is a great change so far that we've seen. That Carlos he's thrown some excellent pitches. He threw a great curveball, but he threw an even better one. Sometimes you don't want to overthrow a pitch. He just managed to not necessarily overthrow it, but he threw a really, really good curveball, both of them.
That will bring to the plate Xavier Fatai. Carlos, hard-throwing right-hander.
Yeah, he's got very good mechanics. Like this is, there's a control of the body. He strives towards the plate.
I actually thought that went off of his foot as well. I know he did fall down.
So we see here. No, definitely not off the foot.
Missed it, but he
just
tried
fell
to
over.
sell it.
Yeah, but he just fell over. 1, 2, 3. Yep, there he goes there.
He tried to sell it that it went off of his foot. I didn't like the way I hit that one. Let's see if I can get away with it.
Number 23, Boston Foot.
Boston Foot will be the third batter here. Carlos Salas making quick work of the Hot Rods. They finally held them scoreless last inning for the first time. He's trying to make that a back-to-back effort.
Hey, this is where you want to, as a pitcher, you need to bet. And if you've got 2 quick outs, just keep going at the zone. Just keep pounding the zone as much as you can. Don't try and get too cute. So we've seen 2 good hitters, and all of a sudden we've got a ball in the air, a ball in the dirt, a ball on the outside. Come back to the basics. He's made a conscious decision. He's gone from the wind-up to the set after throwing 3 balls. And so that gives me a great awareness that he knows what he's comfortable in doing. Some kids are better in a wind-up position. Some kids are better in a set position as well.
The one thing that I was actually going to say, with the exception of that one, he feels very comfortable throwing that curveball.
Yeah.
He's thrown it effectively for strikes, thrown it effectively in multiple situations. That last one got away from him a little bit, but that's, when we talk about kind of finding that pitch that you feel really good about, kind of odd that it's a curveball in some ways.
Sometimes it's the pitch to go to. Sometimes they just go to the back net as well.
I may have spoken too soon. I hope I didn't jinx him on some of those ones. But what I was going with that one, and there was a former Twin pitcher that I believe also threw for the Mets, Yohan Santana.
Yep.
One of his filthiest pitch was that changeup, and he would throw that, any count, any situation, and he made hitters look foolish on that.
You as a pitcher, you have to recognize as well when you're on the mound that sometimes you don't have all of your stuff, but you've got to figure out how to make something work. And sometimes you may not be able to hit the side of a barn with a fastball and go to an off-speed, but then the catcher's got to be aware of that. So there's an awareness of the game. Sometimes you need to throw an off-speed pitch just to get yourself to refocus. And this is where I'd like to see a lot of these kids learn from the game.
Well, that's kind of an interesting point. I know you say as a pitcher, your job is to shake and nod, those kinds of things. Obviously, we have the catchers. They're coming from different clubs. They're not necessarily always used to working with these pitchers, familiar with what they're throwing, familiar with how they're feeling, those kinds of things. So in this instance, who's kind of running it? Obviously, is this a coach's called one? Obviously, a pitcher, all of a sudden, as you said, the fastball's not working today. Well, I know my curveball is, so I'm going to use that one. You don't want to shake off too many things because that might not be a pleasant conversation when you come into the dugout. But how does that kind of work with what has been your experience?
As you progress along in your baseball, if your coach is competent enough, I like to see a little bit of assistance with the catcher. In situations, I'd like to see coaches call certain pitches at certain times and then discuss that and teach them along the way why they did that. Over time, the catchers are going to learn a bit better. You'd like to think that these catchers get a fair bit of instruction at situational.
Macklin puts a charge into that one, but it's hit straight out to center field. Paul able to reel that one in. That'll do it for the Hot Rods, bottom of the 6th. We'll move to the 7th inning. Stone Crabs 13, Hot Rods 12. have that one at times, but all of a sudden.
Welcome to baseball, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to baseball, and a team that had a big lead has to find a way to prevent the Stone Crabs from scoring this half inning, and then they have to find a way to scratch 1 run to tie, 2 to win.
Bringing up number 27, George Calvert.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. Tyler Houston came in, limited the damage, obviously inherited a bases loaded situation, did give in 2 runs, gave in the 1 run, but that 1 run did allow the Stone Crabs to take the lead. He'll have empty bases now as he sets in and squares against George Calvary.
It's a strange old game that you can motor along and all of a sudden you give up a run and you think, oh, well, let's say you score 4 runs, you think, oh, that's great, that's fantastic, and then you come out and pitch and give up 3. It's such a mental game that I hope, and as I know through this showcase, there's been all sorts of mental training that is going on. We've seen psych evaluations where players and coaches are starting to recognise certain traits. Mark Pettit was talking about it last night, about the coaches understanding that certain players need a bit of a push, some people need to be held back. There's tactile learning, there's literally instructional, really core instructional, and then there's let these players evolve because there's a natural brain to it. They're the other side of the game. The other side of the game, not just mechanics. It's not just about being physically fit all the time, but you've got to be mentally fit as well.
Houston started out down 2-0, gave up the 2 balls, fought back, earned 2 strikes, and gets Calvary to chase the curveball into the dirt, the pop-up. Boston Foot able to get under it in time. And the first leadoff hitter retired here in the 7th. Stepping to the plate now, Campbell Froud. Houston starts him off with a 12-6 curveball.
Yeah, you just let that go as a hitter. That's a great pitch. Imagine you could throw that every pitch, first pitch.
Well, there'd be some of those that look for that hanging breaking ball, and a few of those,
Look at this. It's a bit right there. What a great pitch. It's down in the bottom of the zone. Yeah, it tips his head. That's great. So what's the best first pitch to throw? What do you think the best first pitch is to throw?
Well, you're setting me up for a trick there.
There's no
best
trick.
First pitch is a strike.
That's it. And that's not a great sequence of pitching there, but that's not a trick, is it? Like I said, whilst it appears to be setting up, I've asked many kids that question. Curveball, fastball. Yeah. It's got to be drilled into their heads. The best first pitch is a strike. Funny enough, the best second pitch is a strike.
For something like that one. I didn't bite on it. Not my first rodeo, Mr.
Yeah,
Isons.
it's not your first rodeo, which is fine. But you know what? These are the little things that I know the coaches are discussing with these players, and because it doesn't come naturally, they think objectively about what's going on.
Jacob Davila fights that one off, but Tyler Houston did the job he had to come in to do. 3 up, 3 down, quick inning. We'll see what the Hot Rods have in store after 6.5. Stone Crabs 13, Hot Rods 12.
I started coaching at the Institute in 2006. Today I present internationally, work for commercial brands and run my own online training business. And in 2014 I was named Australian Personal Trainer of the Year. I have over 2 decades experience in the health and fitness industry, and I firmly believe that there is no better personal training or massage program than what is offered at the Institute. I started back there when I was relatively new in my career. The people were amazing, the coaches, the friends who come through the Institute are just amazing. And it's such an environment that sets everybody up for success and high motivation. So there's a lot of energy, and I just love it. The Institute was a pivotal moment in my career. It absolutely catapulted me in a completely different direction. And I wholeheartedly believe if I hadn't had the opportunity to work for the Institute, I would not be doing what I absolutely love and adore right now. What advice would I have for somebody wanting to start their fitness journey? You know what? Just start. It sounds super cliche, but it's the truth. No matter if you're feeling anxious or worried or concerned or you're a bit scared to make the leap, do yourself a favor and just leap. It all starts here.
Campbell Froud at shortstop. Nathan Davis at second. Jai Hewitt at first. Now pitching for the Stone Crabs.
The Gooch.
Sam Gooch.
You know what I want out of this series? I want one of each of these playing shirts because they are fantastic, aren't they?
They are. You know, usually I always tried to get a hat of somewhere I went to, but obviously the hat has remained the same, so we got to do the jersey. Obviously the jersey is coming from Garment Exchange. Been fantastic making 4 sets for the 4 affiliates of the Tampa Bay Rays this past season. Obviously Rays stepping in, helping bring this Rays showcase along with Diamond Fitness. Sam Gooch has started off the bottom of the 7th with a strike. Funny that both Tyler Houston and him chose curveballs.
76 miles an hour. So for a young and small guy, he's not exactly the tallest thing. He's got some arm speed there. We know he's certainly got some leg speed. Outstanding speed on the base path.
Obviously, Gooch trying to limit the Hot Rod's ability to get on. Hot Rods did turn it over to the top of their lineup, so Taj Egan leading off here, hoping to get things started. Wind blowing a gale, circling everything. I think if any ball gets in the ear, you should be able to hear it, and you can see the dirt blowing off the mound in the back of the plate. Certainly picked up another 10 Ks in the last 10 minutes, too.
Guess what? Fastball's going to work.
We'll see if Gooch listened to you. He did not. He went with the off-speed one.
I don't mind going to it, but you know, you're certainly going to get a little bit of extra velocity there. But again, this is the type of thing, if you can get that ball not necessarily down to the strike zone, that wind's blowing fairly hard out there. You can see the trees behind, but you can hear it as well because it becomes swirling around. Get after them. Get after and just throw that fastball until they can't hit it.
Of course, if you're Taj, you want to keep it out of the air. Maybe almost wishing he swung at that once. He'd be on first base right now, but you know, obviously I don't want to force strikeouts upon him. But you put anything up in the air, and you know it maybe hit the third, but it might be the first baseman catching it right now.
Sometimes you got to teach kids not to overthink situations. That was, you know, still an effective pitch, an effective curveball in things, but you didn't need that in that situation. So he's gone from 2 strikes to a base on balls, a leadoff walk. Now, Kurt's coaching at third base. What do you think the chances are he's going to steal here?
I will give it 90 to 1.
Mm-hmm. Or small ball.
90%. I'm pretty sure he's going within the first 2 pitches.
And that's a great response from a pitcher.
Good response from a pitcher. Trying to see if anything. I was a little bit surprised. Neither corner infielder was over beyond the bag. Third baseman there, Aiden Branch, still behind the bag a few steps. Obviously, Jai holding the runner on. Wouldn't be surprised. DeGasperis has a lot of speed himself, so to put down a bunt, you're looking to chase that 1 run to tie. You need to get him over, get him in. Gooch with a ball as the first offering to DeGasperis.
75 mile an hour, with a little bit of a tail on there, which is it's an effortless action from him, which is kind of good.
Certainly doesn't look to be overextending himself. We saw in the first game a few of the 18-year-olds maybe kind of going above beyond some of their means, and maybe that's one of the reasons why they weren't as effective with their control. Egan slides back in on the quick pickoff move. And that's something else that we haven't seen. Obviously, we were seeing the willingness from these young guys to throw, but I think that's Gooch set him up with a slower one in that first one, and now obviously picking up the pace a little bit, trying to get him to inch out maybe to where he can pick him off. I'm going to say that was a called pitch out.
So something similar to it. I'm just sort of sitting back. This inning is getting. There's a lot of baseball thought going on for the guys out there. I kind of like this.
Gasper's able to fight that one off, puts it back into the parking lot of Empire Ballpark. And that's something we weren't sure we were going to have there for a little bit of a while. The game had gotten out of hand, and some of the thought had behind it. We were looking at situations of outfield playing normal depths, looking for taking away doubles, looking for taking away corners coming in, infield's playing in. We've seen a lot of different situations today. Now we're getting down to the thick of it and the real meat and what's kind of going on in the minds of all of them. DeGasper is able to put a charge into that one into right field. It looks like Papiccio will camp under that one halfway out. Michael not able to advance the runner.
Simple thing of throwing strikes, getting it into the play, putting the ball in play, giving yourself the best opportunity as a pitcher, and giving your team an opportunity for your teammate to be involved. It's a simple game. You throw the ball, you swing the bat.
Now this has been the Hot Rod's best hitter of the evening, at least in terms of getting on base efficiently. I think every ball he's hit has been a hard hit ball.
That's good. I mean, that's what you want, contact. But what I'm enjoying right now is obviously they know the coach's game is to run, steal, and do everything else there. Now he's changing the position of his. I thought they were bringing Jai Hewitt in front of the runner, sort of giving you don't want to give him that extra base. You want to protect 90. Slightly bigger lead at first base this time. Thought he was going.
Gooch pondering the next pitch, peers over at the runner. Losing a little bit of his control, maybe thinking a little bit too much about that runner, but obviously, that's one of those things that doesn't want him to get to that next base and become that threat.
And also having a very ready hitter, like you said, an on-base threat who knows his strike zone by the looks of it right now. Knows the situation. He's sitting at 3 balls. You're not going to swing at that pitch anyway, but for him to get himself and stay in the at-bat is another positive that you can take from a game like this.
This will be the interesting thing. There's a big hole on that right-hand side if they do stay away, as they kind of have. Up and in will move the runners over. Runners now first and second. And Cruz Brendan coming to the plate. Now, as you said, it looks like Jai will play in front of the runners, in front of the baseline. They don't bring Aiden Branch in as well. He's still 3 steps behind the bag. That ball's going to get away to the backstop. Runners advance 90. Just the thing that you said you didn't want to have happen.
Protect 90. Catcher's got it. Every player on this team has one instruction: protect 90. If the ball's hit to the outfield, make sure you get yourself into a good position. These are the situations. Now we see the infield playing dead set in. So
infield going to be completely dead set in on the grass. Obviously, runners second and third. So tying run is at third. Winning run is at second. Cruz Brendan at the plate. That offering a little bit high, but the umpire likes that one to even the count at 1. One pitch.
Good pitch.
Right
He's gone away,
down
got
the
inside,
middle
got inside, and then and you see Cruz Brennan leaning over that pitch, expecting it to be away, overthinking the situation. Stay in your composure, staying controlled.
Now 2-strike approach here on Cruz Brendan. Does shorten up on the bat handle, as you're able to see. Oh, curveball in the dirt, and the tying run scores. Taj Egan races across the plate, so we have a tie ball game. We have the winning run 90 feet away.
Bottom of the 7th.
Good pitch, buried in the dirt, but Cavalry just not able to block it and watches it roll to the backstop, chases it down, not in time.
It's one of those things that it's frustrating for a pitcher, but it can also be some of the greatest savers to have a catcher who's going to be able to block everything you do. It's a confidence thing. You know, he just sort of, if he'd have stayed down there a little bit longer, he had a better opportunity, but he sort of was half crouched, and I'm sure he'll look back at this.
And he's lucky it almost happened again. Obviously, Cruz able to foul tip that one, but right through that 5-hole. If he was playing hockey, he'd be leaking like a sieve right now.
You're a cruel man.
You know, these kids, I mean, it is young, but that is something. I mean, we've seen the last 2. He's been slow to drop to those knees. Hasn't protected those things with getting the glove into that hole. But able to punch him out, obviously changed him up. I think Cruz was looking for the fight off that curveball. Flustered a little bit on the fastball that went past him.
That's a great pitch there. It's a situation, you've got 2 strikes, you've thrown a ball in the dirt to tie the ball game. You've got a curveball that's foul tip, lucky to stay in there, so he's hanging in there. Great awareness for Gooch to come back with a good fastball, not just a little soft location. He threw it as, you know, a good 76-mile-an-hour fastball.
Tane Batcham hoping to be the last hope for the Hot Rods here. Looking to break the tie. So we had a tie in a 1-run game yesterday. We've had a 1-run game here to start the day, and we're tied right now. We're either going to have another 1-run ball game or tie based on this hitter. Batcham swings out of his shoes on that one. Certainly not getting cheated with that swing.
It's a great swing.
That's one thing that I have always encouraged. You know, you have those 2 strikes. I want you to swing out of your shoes. I want you to go after it. Make sure it's the one that you like and go for it. Sam Gooch rears back, gets 77.
77 up there. Nice work, Gooch.
Topping it out. He saw Tane not get cheated on the swing, so he said, "I'll one up you." The 1-2 offering. This is low and away.
May not be the last hitter.
3 balls, 1 strike. Batcham done well. Now, interesting, he just saw him move up in the batter's box.
He's moved up a lot.
He moved all the way up to the front of the batter's box just for this pitch, too. Expecting that curveball. Didn't necessarily get it, but it had something that didn't give a chance to lower in that strike zone. So we'll have runners first and third, and stepping to the plate, number 12, Xavier Fate. Xavier out of Wanneroo.
This is Wanneroo versus Wanneroo.
Club teammate or just club teammate?
Yeah, club teammates.
No, this is one of those things that I've always liked. I know you got to hear that interview earlier with BJ, and I'm not sure what just happened. I thought they called a balk, but runner advanced to second. So Tane staying. That ball is going to be in the dirt. It's going to get to the backstop, and that is the ball game. Jack Angel able to slide across the plate and score the winning run on the passed ball. Cavalry lets another one get past him. Gooch puts it in the dirt. That'll do it for us. The Hot Rods take this game over the Stone Crabs 14-13. Final words, Simon Isons.
Again, a bit of a... At least we saw some action tonight. It's going to get a bit frustrating for the guys. Simple executions. It's certainly something the coaches will work on. We've got a lot of tired bodies out there. We've got another 2 more games. You want them to recover. Have a look at this video footage the next day with the coaches. Review what they saw. But come back again. Tomorrow's a whole new day.
Tomorrow is a whole new day. Obviously, yesterday we had it where I think there was 25 walks, 25 free passes in the game, and we only had 12 runs total. Today, obviously a different story. We have 17 hits. We have 27 runs. I think some of the walks were limited.
Limited compared to the other games. So
compared to what we've seen, but obviously we've had a lot of good baseball. In terms of, at least if you're a fan of close ball games, you haven't had much to complain about.
Until tomorrow, Guy.
My name is Guy Belair, here with Simon Isons, Paul Morgan. We'll see you all tomorrow afternoon for the Under-16s at 4 o'clock in the Rays Showcase here at Empire Ballpark.